Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy Pride, joined by Ron and Dustin. This is ASAP in the morning. Dustin, how you doing today?
Tired, but doing well. Just working too much.
I feel you 110%. Ron, how you doing this morning?
Buongiorno. It's nice and cold over here in Alaska. I feel you, Dustin. Work is too much.
Don't you have like 24 hours of darkness now?
So what happened, Dustin?
Doesn't Ron have like that 24 hours of darkness period right now, or did that already pass?
It passed. It passed. 24 hours of night. I thought zombies was coming.
What is this, Dying Light? By the way, I just got it a couple days ago. I haven't gotten deep into it, but golly, man, it sounds phenomenal. It sounds phenomenal. Ron, I want to start a conversation with you, bro.
Already.
Yeah, because you're the Rams fan, right? So I want to see, you guys just won the Super Bowl. You guys are on this enormous high. Before the game, Aaron Donald was talking about if we win, retirement is on the table. Now Sean McVay is talking about, I don't even know if I'm coming back next year.
He better come back.
He's in his mind, he's thinking, I might be good. If he ends up retiring, ESPN is trying to make a good hard push to get him so that way he can do their Monday Night Football broadcast.
Wow.
Freddie says me and Ron on the Rams train.
Let's go.
Sean McVay better come back, otherwise that screws Minnesota out of hiring Kevin O'Connell. So Sean McVay better come back.
Believe it or not, Sean McVay leaving, actually, in terms of the league, a lot of dominoes will fall. But first and foremost, Ron, let me get the emotional part, because every time you be coming out here talking like a robot, and I hate it. I want the emotional side, bro. I want to know the man behind the hat. So how do you feel as a Rams fan hearing one of, if not your best player, Aaron Donald, is considering retirement, and now your head coach, who's a pretty good head coach, is considering the same thing?
Sean McVay will probably be the greatest what-if story if he was to retire. He would go out as the youngest to ever do it at the highest level. So hopefully it's just a contract negotiation scheme, because I know Aaron Donald, I will understand if he wanted to retire. He's 30. Playing football is hard, yet alone on the defensive line where you're getting punched in the face pretty much every play by two offensive linemen, two gigantic 400-pound men. So I would salute Aaron Donald. I would appreciate him, and I would be understandable. But if I'm LA, I'm bringing him all of the money bags. Aaron Donald, what do you need to come back this year? Do you need to be a part owner of Crypto Arena? What can we do? What is it? We'll make it happen. 2 more years at least until we are no longer, Super Bowl compatible team. But the Sean McVay part is crazy. And like Dustin said, it messes up his whole coaching tree, to be honest. It will be huge. I don't think trying to steal him to Monday night. That would be iconic for him, but you can do a couple more years, Sean. Come on.
Yeah, 100%. And let's be real, Dustin. Him winning the Super Bowl is kind of like Jim Harbaugh beating Ohio State, right? It's like this buys you, like there's really no pressure. This buys you about 4 or 5 more years before people start looking at you again like, all right, really? Like, because people have been giving him, let's be fair, we've been giving him a pass and we've been giving him excuses up until this point. This really was the first year where we're like, if this guy doesn't win, we got a problem. So By the way, Rob, welcome, my guy.
Rob in the building.
What's
Rob-
good, my boys?
Rob's got to change of scenery.
Hey, Rob's on the phone today. I ain't feel like putting all that stuff together.
I feel you. But Dustin, let me ask you from now the robotic side. Them retiring, is it really logical for each of these guys to consider retirement, or do you think it's kind of just emotions are high and they're just kind of saying something because they don't really know what to say?
I don't think it's logical for either one of them to even think about it at this point.
Mm.
Aaron Donald, I would give a pass to just because he's given the Rams so much for 9 years as it is. And the beating that he takes sometimes on the off when he's trying to blitz a quarterback, getting double and triple teamed, and just knowing that whenever he's on the field, everyone's accounting for where he is. Aaron Donald's done what he's needed to do, and if he wants to leave, then so be it. He's earned it. He's going to go down as one of the top 5 pass rushers of all time as it is. So he's pretty much done what he needs to do. Sean McVay, I don't know why he would even consider it at this point. He's only 36. He started coaching at 30. So it's not like he's 55, 56 years old and that he's been doing this for 20 some years. And when you talk about coaching trees in the NFL, you have the Bill Belichick coaching tree where outside of Mike Vrabel, he really hasn't had an assistant that's had a longevity of success. You look at Andy Reid's coaching tree, he really hasn't had too many assistants that have turned out to be successful. Doug Peterson's kind of the only one that comes to mind because Peterson's got the Super Bowl ring. You look at the Mike Shanahan coaching tree. I mean, his son Kyle's had some success, but outside of that, Mike Shanahan's coaching tree hasn't done much except Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur. And now you look at the new coaching tree that everyone's trying to pick from. It's that Sean McVay coaching tree. You got Brandon Staley in the Chargers who came from Sean McVay's coaching tree. He had a good first year. Now you have guys like Kevin O'Connell who's supposed to get the Minnesota Vikings job, but if Sean McVay leaves, Kevin O'Connell's probably taking over for Sean McVay, which kind of throws a wrench into the Vikings plan. Whatever Sean McVay does, people want to pick from his coaching tree. He's kind of that new kid on the block. He's kind of that fancy new car, the new girl next door that everybody wants because he's just innovative, he's young, and he knows what he's doing. And I think if he leaves at 36 years old to do whatever he wants to do, that might become a trend in the NFL in terms of coaching because you look at guys like Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is only 42 right now. He's been to the NFC Championship game twice. He's won 3 straight division titles in 3 years. If he doesn't make it to a Super Bowl by the end of his contract, which is up in 2 years, I could see Matt LaFleur maybe stepping away for a couple of years just because it might become one of these things where coaches feel they can accomplish all they can accomplish and they just want to kind of take time away.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. Rob, let me ask you a question, and I want you to be candid with me. Are they starting something, a very dangerous trend, meaning they won, and now they're trying to, remember when Tom said he wanted to play to 45, Drew Brees said it, Aaron Rodgers said it, Ben Roethlisberger said it. Everyone said that they wanted to play until 45. Now that we're seeing a guy as prolific as Aaron Donald and a head coach in Sean McVay, like Ron said, if he retired, would be one of, if not the biggest what-if stories ever. Do you think that this is going to start another precedent for other players to just get that one ring and then just retire?
Well, I think it's a little bit different because Tom Brady plays the quarterback position. So in the NFL, they make a lot of rules to protect the quarterback. You really can't get hit until you're out of that pocket and you're considered a runner. So I think the rules have allowed for players to play until 45, at least at that position. But you look at a position that Aaron Donald plays, he hits and get hit. You know what I mean? So he has a lot more physical altercations on the field than opposed to a Tom Brady. So I can see somebody in his position, you've been doing it for quite some time. You finally get that Super Bowl ring. Now it's like, I want to protect the longevity of my life, concussion protocols and things like that. The only problem with that is there's only one Tom Brady. As we saw, Big Ben, the older he got, he wasn't going to last till 45 because he was no longer at the top of his game. So then that comes into question. If you're going to play to 45, are you that skilled to play that long? So I don't think it'll be a trend. There's always been a trend for defensive linemen or running backs or receivers to have a shortened career. I think you're going to start seeing the trend of quarterbacks trying to last a little bit longer to get that check. And as far as Coach Sean McVay goes, you know, I guess it's more of a motivational thing, and then also the fear of his team being broken up. Can I do this again? So I can kind of understand that question mark in the air, but I don't think it'll be a new trend that we see. I think it'll be the same trend that we've seen time and time again in the NFL where, you know, running backs, you know, cornerbacks, defensive tackles, defensive ends, they're going to have a shortened career due to the physicality of their job.
If Aaron Donald retires, I mean, honestly, I don't think he will. But if he does, I sort of kind of understand to an extent. Only because as a defensive player, what else is there for him to do?
Just hit people all day.
Huh? Well,
hit people all day.
But think about it. But Rob, think about it. People have been calling him the greatest defensive player of this era before he won before he even got to the Super Bowl. We got to remember 5-6 years into his career, we're seeing not a double team, not a triple team. I have seen times when they would throw a screen and the entire line, instead of just pulling away and try to block for the receiver, they let every single one of them, no lie, I have seen it multiple times, 5-on-1 on Aaron Donald, and then they let everybody else come. You know what I mean? Like, once you doing that, bro, you special. But to me, I just feel like for Aaron Donald, what else is there for him to do? Like, there's really nothing for him to do. Like, frankly, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if he won the Super Bowl or not, in my opinion. I feel like the Super Bowl was really the last thing he was chasing. I mean, maybe if he gets an MVP, I mean, maybe if that's something he wants, but then again, does he really care for that MVP? Especially the last 3-4 years? You know what I mean? Like, the last few years, he hasn't really cared for it. He's been more about, look, man, I'm here to get that ring, especially after they were so close. And when they lost to the Patriots, they were so close, and Aaron Donald felt that.
Yeah. I think he put that loss on himself, too, because, you know, he's like, okay, maybe, even though the Patriots didn't have a good scoring game, you know how it is when you're the leader of your team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You like, there's something more I could have done, you know, to prevent that from happening. And it wasn't anything he could do.
There wasn't, but you got to understand, Rob, look, we're not going to go to a Jared Goff. All I'm saying is this.
I feel you, Ron.
I ain't getting to that discussion. All I'm saying is this. Aaron Donald, Aaron Donald could have done more, right? I also could swim to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, right? Like, we got to understand something. Aaron Donald is so great that people just, like, when he says I could have done more, people go, yeah, he could have. Like, it's just he's so great. Like, when Tom Brady takes an L and he goes, yeah, I could have done more. You expect that. Now, if you go and you hear a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo say, I could have done more, and it's like, nah, be like, this is you. This is who you are. When you're looking at a guy as great as Aaron Donald, when he says, I could have done more because of how great he is, you're like, yeah, so why didn't you do it? We're just so accustomed because of how great he is. Chris, first and foremost, bro, welcome, my guy. How you doing today?
Not too bad.
So let me ask you.
I had to run the kids to school.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. Let me ask you a question. Are you gonna start a hashtag F Aaron Donald?
A hashtag F Aaron Donald?
Yeah, because he wants to retire.
I think he's going to retire. I hope he does.
You really think he actually legitimately retire?
I think he might. I think he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish by getting that ring this year. I think he might move on to some other stuff in his life. I hope he don't, because I think he's the best player in the NFL right now.
Yeah. He became the best once Tom Brady retired. Sean, what do you think about Sean McVay? Do you think there's a chance that he retires? Or do you think that's just more kind of smoke and mirrors?
I think that's more smoke and mirrors. I think he wants to try to win as many rings as he can to solidify his legacy as one of the best coaches that's ever been in the NFL. But I think
he got a lot to do.
Yeah, he has a lot to do. And the Rams, I think, are going to be in trouble with the salary cap issues that they're going to have trying to keep all them players they brought in. And
it's
and
Dustin,
they have no draft picks to what, like 2028?
Yep, Dustin actually said that in his opinion, salary cap is the biggest issue and it's the key issue, which is true because if we're gonna be honest, what can they do?
And I think that's the main reason why I think Tom Brady retired too, because he looked at who was going to be a free agent in Tampa Bay this upcoming offseason and kind of put into perspective
everyone and their mother.
Realistically, who can we actually bring back?
I think that's one.
And I'm going to be 44 going on 45. I'm not going to stay around for a rebuild.
I'll be honest, for the Tampa Bay thing, I think that's a little different because we got to remember the reason that they went and signed so many people, especially on the defensive end, was because we got to remember, like, what was it, like 6 weeks into the season, their defense was ravaged. It was horrible how low they were on the defensive end. So they had to go get guys like. Bro, they were going to make an old Richard Sherman their number 2 corner.
Yeah.
Once you're making
who was sitting on his couch for 6 months.
Like, you see what I'm saying, bro? Like, once you start getting to there, that, like, in the middle of a game, when in the middle of a game, he's running routes and chips are dead ass falling off of him from the time he spent on his couch. When you get to that point,
bro, I mean, how many games did it take him to get injured? Like 2, 3? Like, you knew that it was coming. You knew that was inevitable. Like, you can't tell a dude that was sitting on his couch to come play one of the premier roles on the defensive side of the ball and he's successful. It's just not going to happen.
Not at all.
I mean, but with Aaron Donald, I mean, like you said, he's one of the best defenders we've seen. Anytime you get compared to Lawrence Taylor,
you're doing something right.
You're doing something right, because LT, I wasn't alive to see LT play, but some of the film I've watched on that man, I can see why people was like on the opposing team was afraid. Like, he did everything on the defensive side of the ball. You know him, a prime time, and Deion Sanders. You're just nervous.
I think that's why not Sean McVay, but Sean Payton left the Saints as well. I think that's why he walked away from that.
No, in my opinion, I think he definitely 110% left, because let's be honest, what can you do with that roster?
Yeah.
With the salary cap hell that they're in.
Well, it gets worse now too, because who knows what's going to happen with Kamara after what he did at the Pro Bowl. And if you lose Alvin Kamara, you're not completely
yeah, he walked away, and I look for him to be back here in a year or two. He'll take this season off and probably get somewhere next season.
Yeah, he's the utility knife of that team.
Mm-hmm. So it's like Sean Payton's dipping, and honestly, man, if I'm the Saints, I just full-blown rebuild. Yeah. And the reason I say that's because, think about it. Sean Payton had a coach's behind off, and they couldn't even get to the wild card. If they get Jameis Winston, let's say they make the wild card, they get smacked in the wild card round to the point where Sean Payton leaves anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But do they get smacked in the wild card round?
Do you think they make the playoffs with Winston?
That's a good point.
Because Tampa Bay does not like playing them.
Yeah, Tampa Bay don't play well.
They would have got the 7th seed and would have got Tampa Bay in that first round.
And then would have been obliterated.
We know they would have beat the Cowboys. That's 2 teams.
Obliterated.
Yeah, but remember, this happened 2 seasons ago where New Orleans beat Tampa Bay during the regular season. Twice. And then we get to the playoffs and Tom Brady becomes Tom Brady.
But not even that. But you got to remember, back then they had Drew Brees, so they had a respectable leader and a calming voice on the actual field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're playing with an all-time great quarterback. Now you got Jameis Winston.
And I was glad actually that Tom got to play Drew, because I mean, a lot of people overlook how historic that was, beating Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Pat Mahomes in the same playoff series.
Too easy for my boy.
That
Too
was
easy.
Oh my God, that was still an amazing thing to see for me.
Bro, that's too easy. That's too easy, bro.
Yeah, but going off of Rob's point, I don't think early retirement's going to be a trend. I think it's going to be. I think the salary cap is what's going to be a trend where you have situations like the Rams, the Saints, and the Bucks, where you have players that have basically accomplished pretty much all they can accomplish. Do they want to stick around while the team goes through a rebuild and risk the possibility of never getting back, or do they just want to end their career on top?
It's gonna be crazy, bro.
Yeah, not to mention when you win. Now we won the ring. I want to get paid, so I might have took a pay cut for us to get the ring. Now that we got the ring, I need the bling. I need the cha-ching. You know what I'm saying?
Are we going to see more coaches do like Sean Payton did and walk away? Since like a lot of the players are getting more power where they can get out of their contracts and get to different teams. You think we're going to start seeing some coaches doing that, walking away from a bad situation and maybe sitting out a year and then trying to get back in?
I don't think so. I mean, Sean Payton's been with New Orleans for 14 years, so it's not like he's been there. He's the second. I think he was the second longest tenured coach behind Mike Tomlin. So it's not like he has only been there for a couple of years. So in his case, he deserved to walk away when he wanted to, because the Saints weren't going to fire him. They were going to basically let him kind of either retire or just kind of walk away on his own terms. Yeah. I think they always say like a coach is kind of tenures like that 5 to 8 year range. I think if you start getting those coaches that are with a team like in 10 years or more, you might see some of them walk away, just because when you're with an organization for 10 years, you pretty much can accomplish everything you can accomplish, whether you won, whether you didn't win. You know what you're going to get after 10 years. Yeah. When it comes to coaches under that 10-year mark, I don't see a lot of them walking away. I think it's more of, do they feel they can win where they're at? And if they don't feel like they can win where they're at, then I can think you see them over and leave.
Yeah, and without putting in that like to your point, Dustin, without putting in that work with the team, without getting those years in, now you're going to start to harm your legacy as a coach, because you're going to be looked at like a James Harden. Hey, you're a guy that runs away when the times get tough.
And like I use Matt.
Don't spray James Harden like that, dog.
I used Matt LaFleur as an example before. Look how good Matt LaFleur's been his first 3 years in Green Bay.
Yeah,
he's got 2 years left on his contract. Let's just say he wins 25 games the next 2 years. He's going to be over 60 wins in his 5 years as a Green Bay head coach, and he may not get to the Super Bowl. Do you see him staying in Green Bay after that, knowing that he's won basically 12 games a year every single year in Green Bay and never got to where they expected him to get? Like, those are the situations where I think he would leave, just because what more can he do in Green Bay outside of getting to the ring? He's gotten you 5 straight 12-win seasons. He's gotten you to where you wanted him to get to. He just never got to the Super Bowl. Those are the situations where I think a coach would leave a lot earlier than normal, because they're going to be at that realization that no matter how good I am here, I can't get to where we need to get to with what we have.
Honestly, it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird because honestly, I expect younger coaches to only take 2-3 year deals.
Yeah.
If I'm a coach, I would, and Ron, you're looking at me funny, but just take this walk with me and explain. And let me explain. If I'm a young coach, I am without a shadow of a doubt not gonna tie myself to no 3, 4, no 7, 8. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do a 3-year deal. Simple. Why? That way, if the team is going left, guess what? I have an opportunity to go right. I have that choice to be able to dip. I have the opportunity to do what I want. And let's say they hire me and then they do me dirty and then they don't want to let me, they don't want to promise what they did. Cause like same thing that Brian Flores had to go through with the Dolphins. They promised him the world. He showed up, and then all of a sudden, everything that they told him during the interview was a bold-faced lie. He tried to work through it because he had no other option.
And he shows you how good of a head coach he was too, because the fact that they lied to him about everything, he still put together 2 winning seasons in 3 years.
Right. And so that's why, like, if I'm a young head coach, I'm only doing 3-year deals. That's it. I don't care. 2-3-year deals. I don't care. I'm making sure I can put myself in a situation where, and this is something I say, loyalty in sports is by far the most overrated thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
By far.
And the thing
Preach,
that you said with that too, if that is the case where all these young coaches are taking these like 3-year contracts, maybe a 4th-year option where they can take it if they want it.
Yep.
That might end any consideration of guys like Raheem Morris, Todd Bowles, or any of these guys that had an opportunity to be a head coach before, failed the first time, and haven't gotten a second look since. That might end any talk of any of those guys getting another head coaching job, because you're going to see like all these teams want to hire these young assistants to give them that opportunity, knowing that we might only have them for 3 years. So why not maximize the 3 years we can get out of them right now?
Yep. I mean, that's all.
That might open the door for coaches to get paid more.
That's what I'm saying. Because if you think about it, since it's a short contract, now they're going to be willing to, okay, well, if it's short, I mean, instead of like that same amount we'll give them over 5 years, we can just give it to them over 3.
Instead of 6 years, $6 million a year, you can get 9.
Exactly. Maybe even 10. You know what I mean? Like, and on top of that, because we got to understand, bro, when young head coaches, more times than not, their first stop isn't their last stop. They just want a place where they can get their feet wet. So now guess what? You're a young coach, you get your feet wet, and guess what? You still go somewhere else with knowledge and what? Youth. Now you got the best of both worlds. You got knowledge, you got youth. Now you can go and say, let's say there's a specific job that you've always wanted. Let's say there's a specific team that you wanted to coach for. The path isn't open now, but let's say it'll be open in a few years' time. Guess what? Now instead of sitting there twiddling your fingers, you can now do something now, get some experience, and then go. And for all we know, hey, maybe it'll help black coaches get more jobs. If you really look at it, bro, we only get 3 years anyway. That's all we get anyway.
Unless your name is Mike.
We got 3 years to go make the Houston Texans a Super Bowl team. If we're gonna be honest,
Yeah.
like
Or
let's
Ron
be honest,
Rivera.
who there's been like one of the hottest coaching commodities has been who? Byron Leftwich. Look what Jacksonville did. Look what Jacksonville did.
Idiots.
Look what Jacksonville did.
Hey,
Matter of fact, I hope they bring back Urban Meyer. They deserve it. Bring him back. Did y'all know that thing that he owned, the what was it, like a restaurant or the bar or whatever? You know that they're actually rebranded and they sold it off because of what he did?
I could believe it.
Dog, Urban Meyer's goated, bro. You ruined a franchise and a team, bro. Let's go. Let's go. Let's send him back to college. Let's put him back at Florida. And we're gonna have the Florida Gators 2.0. When Cam Newton on the bench, we're gonna have another horrible dude at quarterback who's gonna go, because I can and I will. We're gonna have him. We're gonna have a couple killers, some alcoholics, and they're gonna bang out. And then I want it filmed because that's gonna be my 30 for 30.
But I'm saying though, the sad part is he could possibly get a job again.
Who? Oh, Urban?
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer can go to the XFL. He can have Deshaun Watson as his quarterback. He can have Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson line up in the backfield. Then you can take Antonio Brown and Aaron Hernandez if he was still alive and put him over at tight end and wide receiver, and we can just have the longest yard team out there.
And two things.
And Kanye West will be the assistant coach.
Wow.
And funny part,
mean machine.
And the thing is, I know you guys are joking. Like, I know you are. But I can actually imagine that becoming a reality.
Mm-hmm. So can I.
You know what I mean? Because, let's be honest, bro.
Because it would sell.
Yeah.
I can see him back in college. I don't know if he'll get back.
He won't.
in the
There's
NFL.
no way. There's nobody in college that would give him another job after what he did.
Well, actually, no, I don't think so. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Three national championships? I don't know, man.
But they
no.
were. He was working with Fox that one year too. he already had a bad reputation just working for Fox on the pregame show, and that kind of.
Yeah, but we got to remember, Ohio State still wanted him back, and there were other college programs who were throwing blank checks at him.
Mm-hmm.
They were throwing blank checks before he ultimately went up to Jacksonville. I think if you give him 2 years.
Yeah, I'm about to say give him 2-3 years.
Yeah, 2-3 years under the radar, quiet. He'll go back to college. And by the way, I love how you asked that Kanye. Did y'all see the picture with it was him? I think it was AB
and his daughter
and Kanye.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, another one bites the dust. I'm like, yo, Lamar about to be coming out on some trifling nonsense, dog.
Hey, Kanye West like to mess with the misfits.
Bro, Kanye is just a Kyrie Irving who can't ball.
Yeah.
Kanye West definitely balls.
He got good music though.
He can't ball like that. Nah. He not better than Adam Sandler. I don't care what no one says, bro. Adam Sandler and J. Cole are like the two greatest undrafted ballers I've ever seen in my life, yo.
Nah, you can't forget it's some hoopers out here. I think Snoop can ball.
Snoop can
play
football. Snoop can play
football.
Not like them. Not like them. Not like J. Cole.
Dwayne Johnson can.
Hey, didn't J. Cole dunk in a celebrity game?
Yeah.
Yo, I did not know that. And it's funny because they showed his feet, like they showed his legs, and he had mad little legs. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, how you jump? I was like, where the triple eat at your small legs, bro? I'm like, yo, Kevin Hart got bigger legs than you, dog, and he a dwarf. What? Yo, get
Is it just me, or does it look like Dwayne Johnson and Terry Crews could walk on a football field right now and play?
They do. They do.
They both played in the foot. Like they both played football in the past, and I think they made it a total of like 4 years. I think Dwayne played 1 and Crews played 3. It looks like if they walked onto a football field right now, they could probably play it another 5-10 years.
Bro,
I just want you guys to know I would never call him Dwayne Johnson. He will always be The Rock.
The Rock.
The only time I'll ever call him Dwayne is if he gets me tight. Like if he does something stupid.
Like, come on, Dwayne.
All right, Dwayne. Like, come on, Dwayne. Like what I do with Freddie, right? Like I call him Freddie, but when he gets me tight, I'll be like, all right, Fred, come on. Like that's how I'll be. That's how I'll be with The Rock. Right? If he gets me tight, I'll be like, Dwayne, relax.
Hey, but he got me with that pregame speech. I was like, finally.
I was like, that tickled me in a good way, bro. I was like, yes, sir.
It would have been funny if he would have asked the crowd, who's going to win this? It doesn't matter who's going to win the Super Bowl.
He'd be like, do you think the Rams would win the Super Bowl? It doesn't matter what you think.
That's why he's the highest grossing actor in the world.
Hey, side note, I remember when I was in school, I got in trouble for that. I did that to a substitute teacher. I immediately got suspended.
Honestly, and I messed up because I did it to a teacher. I did it to my actual teacher. She got me tight, so I was just chilling. By the way, Chris, when you threw something off camera, did you make it?
Yeah, I banked it off the wall, but it went in.
It went in. That's it. 2's a 2.
You call game.
Yep, that's it. But shout out to Paul Pierce.
Rob, at least you didn't go to a private school and tell one of the nuns that was teaching to sit their candy ass down.
I'll pay to see that.
Yo, that was not because I remember it was 8th grade. I was a loser. No cap, bro. Like in middle school, I was a loser. Right. And I wanted to be like the cool kids. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to make you happy. I was like, watch this. Right. So my science teacher was getting me tight. She was getting me so tight. I wanted to punch her throat. She got me so tight. And because I hate science. I've always hated science. Right. So I used to tell her all the time, man, I might please just leave me alone. You know, I'm not good at this, whatever. She was like, I'm here to encourage you. I was like, I'm gonna put you in your throat. Leave me alone. All right. Come on, bro. I'm like, relax, settle down. You feel me? Like,
oh God!
You only gotta deal with me for about an hour. After that, you can just get me out of here, right? So I was just chilling in the back of the room. I had my head down. I was on my phone, and she was like, "Do you think I appreciate you being on your phone?" So I just in my mind, I was like, "Yo," I wasn't even thinking about it, but like the setup just came, and I just looked up. I was like,
"Doesn't matter. What do you think?
Do you think I care?" Well, like, it doesn't matter what you think. And she got mad and put it at the door, and I got out. And I was like, you know what? No regrets. No regrets. Because I just thought I was going to get a slap on the wrist. I go to the office, and all of a sudden, I got suspended for a week. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, now you know why I'm a reoffender, my guy. Like, what the?
I wasn't afraid of the suspension. I was afraid of them calling my mom. She didn't play.
My mom was tight. My mom was heated, bro. And honestly, it was funny because, like, my mom, so English is her second language. She speaks Spanish, right? So when they were explaining to her in English, she was like, why'd the school call me? And I knew how, when she asked me, it wasn't I dare you to lie to me. It's explain it. So I was like, yeah. So I tried to lie my way around it. I was like, nah, Mom. I was like, what happened was I got an
what happened was.
Yeah, I was like, I got in an argument with a student, and I told the student to leave me. And only told me to shut up. So I told him to shut up, and that he's ugly, and they suspended me for a week. That's what I told her. Where I messed up. I didn't realize one of the guidance counselors spoke Spanish.
Oh, she knew already.
So my mom was like, oh, that makes no sense. So why suspended for a week? I'm going to go to defend you. I said, Mom, this is the one time you do not defend me. This is the one time. This is the one time you going to let your baby boy
just take my story and go home.
Just go home.
I'm like, Mom, just believe me. She was like, okay. I go to school. Like, I was like chilling. I woke up. She woke me up because she was like, nah, we're going to go to the school. We're going to talk to him. I was like, are you dead ass? I said, Ma, I wasn't telling the truth. I lied. She was like, nah, we're going. So we drove 30 minutes to the school. Because at the time, I lived,
well, that had to be the longest 30-minute car ride.
Yeah, I'm just standing there in the car like.
That had to be like a 3-hour, 30-minute car ride.
Bro, it felt so, I was so scared. And we get there, and I was banking and hoping that the guidance counselor who spoke Spanish wasn't going to be there. I was banking on it. In my mind, I'm like, if I play my cards right, she's not there, and I might be okay.
They're bright and early.
As soon as we get into the office, guess who just so happened, coincidentally, was just chilling in the office at the same time?
Hola, ¿cómo está?
I swear to God, immediately I looked at the guidance counselor, I looked at my mom, I just nodded my head, and I went back to the car because I knew what was going to happen. In my mind, I'm like, hey, yo, if I just go in the parking lot, you know what I mean? It gives me some time so my mom will get tight. She won't be as mad at the car as she is from in the office. So I might save myself a hit or two. You feel me? And Rob, you know, anyone here, if you ever got hit by your parents, you know those 1 or 2 hits save your life. Those 1 or 2 hits.
It kept me out of penitentiary.
They save your life. They save you. So I was like, you know what? Yo, Rob, Chris, Dustin, Rob, I don't know if y'all ever had that idea, but I'm in the parking lot and I'm smiling. I'm like, this is a good idea. I might be okay. No, my mom started beating my ass in the parking lot right there. Got in the car. She hit me a few times. Every time we got to a stoplight, it was a smack. She was talking the whole time. And I knew something was wrong when after she hit me in the parking lot, she told me to get in the front seat. That right there was a red flag. And just like a broad who can't get away from her toxic ex, my dumbass just kept going back for more, for seconds, for thirds, for fourths. They got to the point when I got home, bro, I was just saying to the car, like,
I don't want to
like,
go
get
either.
out. I'm like, yes.
Oh, my God.
Nah, bro. But guess what? I will say this in my dying breath. It was worth it. I went back to school after that week suspension. They told me to apologize to her. I said never. I never.
And I can really see you doing that too.
Yeah, I was like, never. I was so defiant. They were like, yo, you want to get suspended again? I was like, come on, chief. I'm like, don't do that now. So they made me type up an apology. I ripped that shit up. I didn't care. I got beat for it though. It was worth it though. But speaking of beat, the Dolphins owner, homeboy better not leave his office because he gonna get beat real hard. After Brian Flores was like, yo, I'm out here. I'm snitching. Operation Greenlight. I'm snitching on everyone and their moms. The NFL decided, yo, matter of fact, let's investigate this mofo, bro. Let's see.
You have to. When you're telling a league, hey, this owner offered me $100,000 per game that I threw away. Like, yeah, dude. Like, not only are you messing with the integrity of the NFL, Now you're messing with the integrity of these betting sites,
Yep.
the FanDuel, the DraftKings, the Caesars Point, all that stuff.
And the thing is, Rob, and that's honestly a point that people aren't really bringing up, because not only can they sue the Dolphins, they can actually sue the league and do like a class action lawsuit where they all kind of join together and sue them. So people don't understand how serious, which is why the league is ahead of it. Like a lot of people are saying, yeah, so what? It is what it is. Teams tank all the time. But you got to understand, this is different than tanking.
Right.
When you're going out there and paying your head coach, paying him to actually lose, not only is that damaging the integrity of the game, like you said, Rob, but again, the point that no one's really talking about, these betting sites, if the NFL didn't do a single thing, they're getting sued, and they're getting sued up the you-know-what.
Right, because the betting sites going to sue the NFL. They're going to say, we didn't tell you to tank.
Yeah, because the betting sites are partners with it. A lot of them are partners with the NFL now.
Yeah.
Or different teams and stuff like that.
So it's like, I mean, obviously, Ross has denied it. He said no. However, they said they're going to speak with everybody because Brian Flores has named a few people. He told the name to the league office, but he hasn't made those names public. So the league office knows who to talk to. They're talking to them. They're seeing if there's any type of proof, any type of maybe text messages, email. Shout out to Washington. By the way, I'll never let that go until we get those emails. I'm never letting that go. But Dustin, let me start it with you. Do you believe that there's a legitimate chance that Stephen Ross just says F it? I'm sorry, Stephen Ross. I'm sorry. Why did I say Stephen?
I think it is pronounced Steven. I think it's just spelled weird.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think the bozo of the day, okay, do you think that he's going to give up and just sell the team before the investigation is done?
I don't, but I think he's going to end up selling it during the investigation. And I said this from day one, and I'm going to sound racist when I say that, but I'm not trying to sound racist. There were so many white people that felt Brian Flores only did what he did because he's being a sore loser and he's just kind of being one of those disgruntled employees that got fired and he's just trying to go after money and things like that. And I made it a point basically by saying he is literally risking coaching in the NFL again. He didn't just say what he said for no reason. He obviously had merit behind it, and he obviously has proof to what he was saying. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said what he said. And the fact that the NFL is now willing to investigate the Miami Dolphins, that shows you that there is people in the league that believe what Flores said. And if they go into Miami and find out that this is true and that Stephen Ross did what he did, Brian Flores will coach again because Brian Flores is going to win the lawsuit that he has against the NFL because the NFL is going to basically be like, well, you were right about Ross. You're probably right about what you said about John Elway. So let's just settle the lawsuit now, give you paid, and get you into the NFL next year.
And again, and the thing is because you say you feel like what you said was racist. The crazy part about it, bro, is not. You literally just said the reality of the situation. That's the crazy part about it. Like, let this sink in, bro. Let this sink in.
I stand behind you, Dustin.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, and Dustin, I'm gonna tell you how I told Mike. You one of us, bro. You just forgot to get a tan. That's it. That's it. That's all it is, bro. You one of us. You feel me? You one of us. But here's the thing, and Chris, let me swing this over to you real quick, because the mere fact that the league has done this investigation so quick, just the mere fact that they're on it tells you not only they value the sponsorships and don't want to get sued, but don't you think it's a legit possibility that somebody else said something to the league or multiple other people has said something to the league?
Well, Hugh Jackson said it with Cleveland.
Say again, Dustin?
Hugh Jackson said the same thing with Cleveland.
You know what I mean? So do you think that this is really just a culmination of, wait, hold on, too many of these things are being said, there's got to be some merit behind it?
Yeah, I think some other people have talked to the NFL. I just don't think they had the balls to go public like Flores did. I don't think that the Dolphins coach is going to sell him. I think what's going to happen is he's going to keep fighting it, and then the owners are going to voting them out. Is what I think. Was what I think's going to happen. I think that hey, them old rich white guys, their pride. His pride's not going to let him just sell that team. He's going to hang on to it so he gets forced
I
out.
thought you just called pride an old.
I was about to say. I was like, okay.
So I'd be like, Pride, let me hold something.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, hold on. My credit score just went 150 points. Let's get it. Let's go.
Well, the thing that Chris just said too, with the fact that the league is letting the owners vote if he should keep the team or not, that's kind of the key in this situation. It's not the NFL just going in there and looking at it themselves and basically be like, well, this is what we see. Yep. They're leaving it up to the rest of the league to decide his fate, because we know how the NFL feels about tanking. We know how every sport feels about tanking.
If I'm not mistaken, I think what they're going to do, they're going to accumulate all the evidence, send it to the owners. They're going to give the owners a few days to kind of look over it, see how they feel. And then they go, all right, what's your decision? Ron, do you think it's a good idea for the fate of this one owner to be in the hands of all the other owners?
1,000%. That's the most fair way to do it. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly how the NBA did it with Donald Sterling. The other owners voted, you're not good for our product.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And how it rolls out with the NFL is going to tell us a lot about how the owners think and feel. Because I have the spider sense that they're going to say, nah, you can stay in the club.
And honestly, I'll be honest, bro. I believe that's what's going to happen. And the only reason I think it's going to happen, in my opinion, Rob, let me know if I'm out of pocket here. I think most teams at one point has done this.
Yeah.
The only teams who hasn't done it is the New England Patriots, because they've always been, this is not just me being a homer, but they just always been,
They've always been middle of the road or better. They've never been like actually
right. Exactly. They were like, hey, if we lose, we lose, but if we win, we win. I think the Colts haven't done it because I just think the reason they kind of sucked was, frankly, it came down to injuries. You know what I mean? There was that one year they were god awful and Peyton Manning's neck kind of just went iffy.
Well, do you think the Colts did it to get Peyton Manning though?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, they were just terrible.
Yeah,
and then the Patriots, they wouldn't tank. They just deflate balls and watch what your plays. Yeah, watch how you call plays.
Go ahead, Rob. Rob, what's your team again? Irrelevant.
Oh no, Chicago Bears. They're trash. They need to.
Get out of here, coach. Irrelevant.
They need to take.
The thing with the Hugh Jackson situation, though, I don't care how bad of a team you have and how bad of a coach you are. It's damn near impossible to go winless in the NFL unless you're basically getting paid to lose. Because if you watch, even when Detroit went 0-16 that year with Jim Schwartz, they were competitive in a lot of those games. Yeah. They just couldn't finish it. The year that Cleveland went 0-16, they were not even competitive. It was over by the end of the first quarter, and Cleveland had some talent on that team.
And if you remember, during the year that the Cleveland went 0-16, people were actually asking, hold on now, are we sure something suspicious isn't going on? Because
they had Myles Garrett, they had...
You can't be that bad.
They had Landry, they had David Njoku, they had Nick Chubb. Like, they had talent. I'm just like, how are you going 0-16 and not even being competitive?
Exactly. And some of these things are just... Like, some of the losses they got was just them kind of just... You don't know how many times I've seen... Because somehow during that year, the Browns still had some primetime games. How, I don't know. But I remember watching some of the games and, like, a little wide receiver screen, they would go, I missed. Okay. Oh, wait, I'm still playing. All right.
They'd call a quarterback draw quarterback draw on 3rd and 9 and 4th.
Yeah, and 9. Shout out to Joe Judge because Jesus Christ, it was horrible. Like, you know what I mean? But honestly, I think, and like I said, Rob, if I'm out of pocket, let me know. but I just think they're going to because I think most of the teams have done it. I think the Chargers you know what I mean? Like even when they had Phillip Rivers, I think they've done it. I think they've done it before. I think the Jags obviously have done it. I think Tampa has. I genuinely believe at least 60%.
I think there's only 5 teams in the league that have never done it.
Honestly, and I think the only reason in those 5, frankly, is just because they've had some success. So you can't. You know what I mean? Like the Patriots. I think
Packers,
the Chiefs,
Packers.
Yes, the Chiefs.
Yep.
I don't think the Chiefs has ever done it. I think I put the Colts in there because even though they struggled, I just think it was the injuries for me.
And I would say
Pittsburgh.
I would say Dallas too, just because Dallas.
I don't think Pittsburgh's tanked.
I think they did the year after Bill Cowher, right? Like maybe Mike Tomlin was that Bill Cowher's last year before Tomlin got there. I think.
Yeah. But even then, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that
wasn't a bad take,
that one right there, that's a fine. In my opinion, that's a fine line. You can make an argument for both.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. You really can make an argument for both. But again, that's just a handful of teams who, you can make an argument has never tried to, purposefully tank, and now you're looking at the other team like Cleveland. They're gonna let the owner stay. They're gonna let Ross stay because they've done the same thing.
I don't think they're going to let Ross stay, and the only reason why I say that is Miami has the most money to spend this offseason, which is why that job was such an attractive job for a head coach because they knew the amount of salary cap space they could spend. That job just went from the best to the worst because what player is going to want to go to Miami if they find out that Stephen Ross was paying Brian Flores to lose? What free agent is realistically going to want to go there to play for a team owned by a guy that was paying a coach to lose?
Well, I agree with Chris. Like, his pride, that billionaire pride, will not let you go down without a fight.
Yeah, he'll fight. I just think he'll get voted out because of the whole situation. No one's going to want to play for him. Like the new coach they even got, I'm surprised he's not even wanting to get out already.
Well, you got to look at it this way too. Innocent until proven guilty. So I don't think the peers will vote him out. Like, you're going to have to show concrete proof that he can that Ross can possibly get in trouble for this. You're going to need like concrete evidence. And then I think the owners will make a move because you got to look at it like this too. It's bad PR, not just for the NFL. We're talking about the betting sites and then other leagues because now you like, who else is tanking? What other owners have asked teams to tank, not just in the NFL? So now you're looking at American sports across the spectrum.
I agree that you're innocent until proven guilty, but for Flores to put his career on the line, he's got to have some sort of concrete evidence to prove.
Well, you know who else put his career on the line? Colin Kaepernick, and no one believed him.
Well, I hope Ross wasn't that stupid to send that in an email.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
maybe it wasn't an email. Maybe it was written in his contract that he signed, and then
that's what I'm saying. Like,
he just kept a copy of it.
If it's just word of mouth, the owners aren't going to take it. They're not going to take it serious.
They're going to have some proof.
Yeah, if it's written in an email, a text message, like Dustin said, in his contract, if it's something like that they're going to. And by the way, and for his contract, do not let the NFL look at it. Give it to an independent lawyer because if there's something, it's not straight up like, oh yeah, if you lose, we'll give you this. It's gonna be worded out
so weird that you.
It's gonna be worded so weird that like if you
some kind of performance incentive.
They're gonna be like if you leave the game with with the amount of points that summed up that is not the equivalent or more than the enemy's points. For that, we shall reward you X amount. They'll say something stupid like that. Like
it'll be like written in a calculus problem that you won't even be able to understand.
Exactly right.
The only thing you'll see is $100,000 at the bottom.
Right, which is why I'm saying you got to give it to some independent lawyer so that way they can look at it. They can just say, okay, boom, 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 here it is. This is where again, if they don't have anything written, I don't think anyone's really gonna. In terms of the owners, I don't think they're gonna rock with it.
I just think
that's just me. But
I just think Flores has something because he didn't just go after Miami. He went after other teams too.
Yeah.
Like if he would have just went after Miami, I would have been like, okay, you're just kind of doing that just because of how things ended. But he went after Miami, the Giants, and the Broncos. So
And did he add Houston in there too?
yes. So he's got to have something on one of these teams to throw.
And if he
all
doesn't
four of
have
them
it,
in there.
and if he doesn't have it, someone he's been talking to has it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
That's
and
why I'm saying
if it's somebody else, because Brian Flores isn't a stupid guy.
I know
If
he's not.
somebody else has it, he got it, and he's got the evidence. He's got the
Well,
proof.
the Bill Belichick text is
Yep.
basically all the proof that he needs to bring to
For
the
the
NFL
Giants,
offense
yep.
on the Giants.
Yep, for the Giants. You know what I mean? So
That's why I said
Damn,
Flores
He
has
has to have
something.
proof.
He has to have something
something,
on
right?
all these teams. Because
I
he
think-
wouldn't have just kept adding everybody into like this lawsuit if he didn't have something on each one of these teams.
exactly, yep.
I
Yeah.
think if Flores wins this lawsuit, you're going to see more stuff come out because I think some of these other coaches might be more apt to come out and speak out if they see why he done change some things.
Did you see John?
Yeah,
Elway's- did you
becomes
see
like a
John-
domino effect.
Yep.
Did you see John Elway's response to the Flores thing?
Nah, what'd he say?
He was butthurt.
He was butthurt. He basically said, "I don't know why Brian's accusing me of this. I thought I was in a good state of mind to interview him." Basically,
You
I'm saying that
thought?
you basically
Yes.
by saying you
Yes,
thought
and here's the thing.
basically
here's the thing,
shows
here's
that
the
you
thing.
were not in a good state of mind.
Yes, like and Dustin's not capping. In his statement, he actually said, "I thought."
Which basically means he was not in a good state of mind. He interviewed Flores, which is exactly what Flores is accusing him of.
Yeah, officer, I thought I wasn't there when Shorty got shot. I thought I was.
Man, I thought that light was green.
Yeah, man. I mean, I thought she gave me consent, but I don't know.
Hey, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this show, sometimes it's better to just keep your mouth closed. Everything doesn't deserve a response. I'm just saying, especially if you can't respond the right way.
Hey, I was gonna- if you're
You
gonna
make yourself,
respond-
you make yourself look worse.
he made himself look so dumb, and it's funny because like I read it. This is how crazy it was. I read it and I just shook my head. I looked away, and then like 2 minutes later, I was like,
Did I read that right?
"There's no way this Mo Effers had thought. Hold on now." And I looked, and he was like, "I thought I was in a good state of mind," and I'm like,
The fact that you said
"That
you
is the equivalent of you saying, yeah, bro, you know he black. I don't rock with him, so I ain't hire him." Like,
And that's just sad, though. I actually talked about this on my show. Like, it's sad, you know what I mean? And not to play the victim card, but it's just, as a black man, like, you have to give teams incentives to hire black people. Like really, dude? Like it's that bad?
The thing with Denver is it falls on Vance Joseph. Like John Elway gave Vance Joseph his shot to coach Denver, and I think he was gone in 2 years. So now I don't see Elway giving another African American a head coaching opportunity in Denver because he's like, well, I tried it with Vance, didn't work.
I just love it, bro. In a league that can justify Jeff Fisher being around for as long as he
Hey,
was.
he's coaching again. He starts in a couple of weeks.
Or what's the guy from Belichick's camp? He was coaching Detroit.
Patricia.
Oh,
Matthew
Patricia.
Oh God.
Well, yeah, and look what they did to Caldwell. He was winning in Detroit.
Yeah,
and they got rid of him.
Yeah, let's
get
fire
Patricia.
Caldwell for Patricia.
It's just so funny. We live in a world where you could justify them, but then Byron Leftwich, no, you gotta bend down to us.
We live in a world where 70% of NFL athletes are African American, and yet we have 2 African American head coaches and 2 African.
And innocent, and I say, and we say 2, but Lovie Smith's gonna get fired in a year and a half anyway.
Yeah.
Homie, he gonna get fired because they're gonna be like, "You didn't make a Super Bowl team? Get him out of here."
Yep.
So Lovie Smith is just gonna get fired. At this point, I think he needed a vacation from a vacation. I think that's why Lovie took the job. He was like, "Fuck it, it is what it is." Excuse my friend. I tried to go this whole episode when I cursed it. I ended up slipping up.
I think he
But-
took the job because it's kind of a similar situation to David Culley, where Lovey knows he's not the answer, but because Houston waited so long to make a decision on David Culley, he's kind of like, well, I was on the staff last year. Everyone knows who I am. Just keep me here for a year or two. Let me build something up, and then when you decide you want to bring in the new coach, at least I have the culture already established for them.
At least I hope that's what it is. I really do because I just hope they don't do him dirty, bro. Because like I said, and no disrespect to Mike Tomlin. I ain't trying to be rude to him or whatever, but
The one that got away from Minnesota.
it's just there only being one when there's plenty of good minority head coaches that.
And I feel bad for all these minority coaches because if you look at all the ones that have been given an opportunity since 2013, like Bowles, like Sean Wilkes, like Vance Joseph, Raheem Morris, none of them had a winning record because of the situation they were put in. They got put on teams that were complete dumpster fires and basically were set up from the beginning.
And that's one thing I'll never understand, bro. When it comes
You are so right, bro.
When it comes to a white head coach, you have an infinite amount of time before anyone looks at you. If you give it to a minority, this Detroit Lions team, if they're not the first team to go 17-0, you're a mistake. You're a joke. We should have never have hired you.
Yeah, look at
you can't drag the Houston the Houston
Texans.
The Houston Texans. Thank you. I almost said Astros, and then after that, I almost said Rockets. So my brain is all over the place today. But you get the Houston Texans.
Strike.
But like, if you can't get the Houston Texans to a top 3 seed, we need to fire you. It's just so bizarre.
But look at Green Bay for example. You mean to tell me that if Raheem Morris or Vance Joseph would have went to Green Bay, they wouldn't have succeeded? They would have succeeded because they had Aaron Rodgers. They may have not been as good as Matt LaFleur, but they would have succeeded because they had Aaron Rodgers. But no, let's give it to Matt LaFleur, who really only was known for his one season in Tennessee as a play caller. But let's send Todd Bowles to the Jets to work with nobody. Let's send Vance Joseph to Denver to work with nobody and let him coach for 3 years and then basically blackballed him the next 5 years and not give him another shot.
And here's my thing on that. Let me know if I'm out of pocket. Ron, if I'm bugging right now, I want you to yell at me and I want you to call me stupid, right? I don't know if Matt LaFleur is a good head coach. I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's bad. I don't know if he's the next best thing.
He's not bad.
I don't know if he's a younger Jeff Fisher. Like, I don't know. To me, he's the NFL equivalent of Steve Nash. Like, homeboy is just there. Like, he'll go and talk to Aaron, and he'd be like, "Hey, Aaron, what do you think we should do? Yeah, this is what we're going to do. Yeah, okay, yeah, I got you. All right, go ahead." And then afterwards, he'll go, and then he'll cover his mouth. And it's funny because if you catch the angles, he's not saying nothing. He's just doing this, and he's like pretending to talk, and he's just like.
No, he's talking. He's talking, but he's not talking to Rodgers
after the game.
Yeah, he's not talking to like Rodgers in the headset. If you ever watched that San Francisco game and play it back, there was one thing where they did like the lip reading thing, and he's like walking down the sidelines, looking up in the sky. He's like, "Why am I even calling this play? Why are we doing this?" And he's just like,
"Oh yeah, it's a bad lip reading." Yeah.
He's like, yeah. What was that? Oh yeah, no anchovies on that. Yeah, the game would be over in an hour.
That's the thing. I don't know if, and like I said, Ron, if I'm out of pocket, let me know. But I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's bad because I genuinely feel like if you put any head coach there that just stays out of the way.
Not Adam Gase.
I mean, if Adam Gase can stay out of the way, but that's remains to be seen. But
it's a big if.
Yeah, but Ron, am I out of pocket for in essence still not knowing if Matt LaFleur is a good head coach or not in the NFL?
No, you have 1,000% agreement from over here. It's really a dream job opportunity because if you're starting a new profession, especially new head coach, I love the Steve Nash comparison. You're going to be putting it together as you figure out how to become the head coach that you're going to be. And to be able to do that and just have Aaron Rodgers in your back pocket, yeah, you take advantage of that. And that's the sad part with all of these black opportunities that we're talking about with head coaches. It's like, we're going to put you in a hellhole. You can figure it out. And compared to getting a job like LaFleur, it's rough. I feel like y'all kind of just defended Brian Flores' case the whole time we've been talking about this, every point you guys been making.
And the thing with LaFleur, I think he's a good head coach. but we don't know how good of a coach he is until Rodgers leaves. And
don't give him Jordan Love because
no, and I'm going to compare him to Sean McVay for two reasons. The two times that Sean McVay got to the Super Bowl, he basically inherited an incredible team. When he got to the Rams the first year, it was basically all first and second round draft picks that they were stocking up the last couple of years, got him to the NFC division game and lost. The second year with the Rams, Jared Goff played like an MVP. They got to the Super Bowl and lost. And then this year they made all these trades, basically went all in and got to the Super Bowl. But if you look at the 2 years in between from when he got to the Super Bowl and lost until this year, he was winning 10 games. He was getting to the playoffs, but he wasn't getting to that next level just because he didn't have that great team in place. Matt LaFleur has inherited a great team with a great quarterback. He's won 13 games every single year that he's been there. He's gotten to the NFC Championship game twice. He's gotten to the playoffs all 3 times. We don't know what he's going to do once Rodgers leaves. Now, if he goes and wins 12 games without Aaron Rodgers, well, then you can say he's a great head coach because he just did that without Aaron Rodgers. But if he goes maybe 9-8, 10-7, and is making the playoffs but just not really getting far, then you can say he's a good coach because he's still getting to where teams want to get to. We can't say he's a bad coach, but we can't say he's a great coach until we see what he does without Aaron Rodgers.
Right, yeah. He can do that with Jordan Love. More power to him.
Now, if he does it with Jordan Love, he's the GOAT. I don't care what no one says. If he does it, if he wins Super Bowl with Jordan Love, he's the GOAT. Jordan Love throws balls like he's Lamar Jackson.
Well, I don't even say Jordan Love. If he can get to the Super Bowl without Devontae Adams, I would even be willing to say that he's a great head coach because we really haven't seen how Rodgers will do without Devontae Adams for a full season. We've seen how he does without Devontae for a couple of games here and there, but we have not.
Not good.
We haven't. No, Packers. The Packers are 6-0 the last 2 years when Devontae Adams doesn't play.
Why you gotta do it like that, bro?
Like the Packers can win without Devontae Adams. They've shown that they can. But
I don't think they can win a big one without Devontae.
No, but that's what I'm saying though. Like they've won games without him, but it's only like 2 or 3. Like it's only like a 2 or 3 game stretch where they don't have him, and Rodgers kind of goes to more of a run first team when.
He's very conservative.
Yeah.
Very.
So if you keep Rodgers and you lose Devontae Adams, that's going to be the first real test for Matt LaFleur. Does Matt LaFleur go with more of that conservative approach and ride Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon? Or do you still let Aaron Rodgers be Aaron Rodgers and basically force other receivers on the roster to make things happen? That'll be kind of your first true sign of how good of a coach LaFleur is, because the moment Adams leaves, or Rodgers for that matter, that offense is going to have to be completely redesigned. They're going to have to go with basically a completely new playbook because they're not going to have the same weapons. They're not going to have the same personnel that got them to where they've gotten the last 3 years.
Yep, everything's going to be extremely different for them.
And the passing game coordinator is now the Bears offensive coordinator, and the Packers offensive coordinator is now the Denver head coach.
Yep. So, next topic I want to talk to you about, Chris, I want to start it with you because you are the Colts fan. The Colts they're heavily considering trading Carson Wentz, and if there's no trade partner, they are actually willing to release him.
Walk it to him, Wentz.
I hope you mean that out of respect. I really do. I really hope you mean that out of respect, because if you're trying to be disrespectful, Rob, you and I we gonna have to fight. We gonna have to fight, bro, because
you like Carson Wentz.
I
Say what you want to say, but this is how good of a coach Doug Peterson is to get what he got out of Carson Wentz.
No, well, Dustin.
That's a great point.
No, Robert. All right, we gonna relax.
Man.
I got love for you, Pride. But
well, do me a favor for like 5 minutes. Take that level away from me and give it to Carson. All right, because he need it right now, bro.
He threw 16 passes and 15 interceptions 1 year, man.
Okay, look, listen. Carson Wentz, he's kind of down bad right now. Okay, but let me ask you a question. Because people are mad at him that he is not throwing the ball like he was in his MVP year.
Well, you have Jonathan Taylor. Why would you?
That's what I'm saying. Like, can we really blame this year, his first year? Can we truly blame him for this year when he had, for every moment you say he had a bad moment, he had like 5 great ones. Let's be fair here.
The last 2 weeks of the season you can put on him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let Chris. I'm gonna let Chris take that one because he's a Colts fan.
I thought Wentz played good most of the season. What Dustin said, the last 2 games he struggled, but look at the offensive weapons he had too. He didn't have Hilton a lot of the time. It wasn't like he had great receivers.
Matter of fact,
Pittman started stepping up.
Take a moment.
Season. I think the Colts would be making a mistake if they get rid of Wentz. Because if you release him, yeah, you're going to save $22 million on your salary cap. But who's going to be our damn quarterback? Ellinger?
Trade him for Kyler Murray.
I don't know. I think Kyler Murray might be on his way to the MLB if they start.
We gonna talk about that. Put a pin in that thought, Chris, because I promise you, we go talk about that.
Trade Wentz for Russell Wilson.
But here's the thing.
Yes. Now you're talking.
Maybe, but if you're just gonna get rid of Wentz, to start Sam Ellinger, I think that's stupid.
But Wentz has proven he cannot get the job done. I get y'all love and respect.
It's even worse than that, Rob. There is no compassion we should have for Wentz. There is literally no excuse to be down 26-3 in the fourth quarter to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't care. That's what your season's going to be. That's how you're going to end. How does it feel to have that taste in your mouth, Chris? 26. They
played terrible, but
like, I wouldn't even want to watch
on him. Offensive line,
bro. Okay,
walk into a Wentz is give it to a Wentz.
Hold on. Go ahead, blame it on Wentz, and act like that defense didn't sell them too. Like we need to stop doing this. Like again, Carson, the last 2 weeks he struggled.
But the offensive line didn't play well the last 2 weeks.
Thank you. If we're gonna be fair,
we couldn't even run the ball.
The person who played well the last 2 games of the season was Jonathan Taylor. Everybody else was, I don't want to say horrible, but the entire roster, top to bottom, even the kicker was struggling, bro. What are we talking about?
Mo Alley Cox played
the CEO. The quarterback is the CEO of the team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is
Not
a playoff atmosphere
Not when
game.
it's your first year.
Urban Meyer's team, a playoff game against Urban Meyer's team, and
they lost, and it's a bad
loss. I don't think
it's just 10%. And I'm not justifying the last 2 games of the season. I'm not justifying it. They lost. However, how many weeks are in an NFL regular season?
18.
There's 18. There's 18 weeks in an NFL regular season. Minus one for the bye week. I
say 17. That's why.
Yeah, that's 17 games that they had to play. 2, the last 2 games were very questionable, no debate. That's on 15 games that Carson Wentz was solid in his first year in a new system, a brand new system. All I'm saying, I don't think you should be looking to get rid of him after 1 year.
I don't think that's a smart idea. The only brushback I have on that, was it really a new system? Because you got to remember, Frank Reich was his offensive coordinator in Philadelphia.
He was his offensive coordinator, but let me ask you a question: who was back in Philly? Who was his number one? Who was his number one running back
in Philadelphia that year?
In Philly,
Jordan Howard, I believe.
Okay,
Rob,
who's his? Go ahead, Ron.
Did Carson Wentz? I just want to ask a quick question, just yes or no. Did Carson Wentz or not have a potential offensive year player of the year candidate on his roster on offense with him? Yes or no?
Oh, Jonathan Taylor?
Yes,
of course. So, but what's your point?
26.
What's your point?
I'm a Philly guy. I love the Eagles. I know Carson Wentz has a ego problem. He has a pride issue. Speaking of prideful takes, and
he's got a pride issue, but
he's not going to work. He's not going to work in any organization. He's not going to be the leader that you need, and he has a complex where he feels like he has to play quarterback like he's a tight end.
Yep. Okay,
Carson Wentz.
All right. Go ahead,
needs to sit down for a little bit. I don't think the Colts need to go find a new option. I wouldn't bring him back. I'm signing off.
All right.
Shout out to Nick Foles.
Here's my thing with that. Hold on. Here's my thing with that. Here's my thing
Foles
with
did
that.
it.
Dustin, go ahead. I'm gonna let you speak your point.
Yeah,
Dustin.
I would give Wentz one more year with Frank Reich
That's all I'm saying.
just because Nick Foles may have won that Super Bowl that year, but Carson Wentz still got him to the number 1 seed before he got hurt.
Do you think they win the Super Bowl if Carson Wentz is the quarterback going into the game?
Yeah, he got him to the number 1 seed.
I don't think so.
He was.
You're talking about the year that he was the MVP like basically the MVP.
Yeah, he was the MVP. Yeah, he was.
I don't think they win when Carson Wentz is quarterback.
Stop playing.
How did he get injured? Because he was playing like a dang tight end.
Yes, and that was years ago. This year, he hasn't been doing that.
And you can tell, as bad as this
he hasn't been doing. Chris, am I right or wrong?
Oh no, I agree with you.
As bad as
and this is the guy who watches every Colts game.
Chris said he'll bring him back. Go ahead, Dustin.
As bad as it sounds, though, maybe Wentz does need to play that way again, because when he was playing that way, he was at the best he's ever been. And since he started to get hurt, he's kind of gotten away from the things that made him so successful. And now you're seeing that he is more limited than what people thought is just a standard passer. He needs to have that element of his game where he is running quarterback draws, and a lot of the things that he did in Philadelphia that made him successful, he needs to get back to doing that, just not at the same level that he did in Philadelphia. And if he can do that, that opens up a lot more things to his game, which is what made him the number 2 pick.
I mean, to an extent, I kind of agree, but we also need to take into consideration the reason he had to do all that in Philly was because their run game, it was
Which is why he should do it more now, because if you have Jonathan Taylor plus...
But that's the thing. I wouldn't do that, though, because you have Jonathan Taylor, who it seems like he's coming. It seems like this year was his coming out party.
Yeah, that boy a dog.
Yeah, like
he's been coming out since he was at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That boy a dog.
I'm talking about for the casual viewer, because I in his rookie year, I was saying this kid
should have been a first-round pick. He should have been the first running back on the board.
Easily. I think he should have been a first-round pick, and I honestly, he's a steal. No debate. He was a steal, and now he's balling out. He's proven it. But here's my thing when it comes to Carson. We're sitting here and acting as if Carson Wentz was like a detriment this year. He really wasn't. Who was their best player on that offense?
Taylor.
Matter of fact, who's the best player on that team?
Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor.
Right? So if Jonathan Taylor is your best player, does anyone happen to know what position he plays?
Running back.
Running back. Okay, my bad.
Right.
I thought he was a wide receiver the way Ron was hyping him up. Like, he's out here supposed to be catching slate like Cooper. Like, he's a running back, right? So you're going to, hand the ball off to him, right? So that way you can utilize his talent. So that way when he gets the ball, he goes like this and he grabs it, right? Then he looks up and then he evaluates and then he runs, right? If that is the game plan because it's working, why should that be a knock to Carson Wentz?
It's not a knock to him on that. It's just a knock to him on how he played those last 2 games. And as bad as he played, which I can't defend him because he looked absolutely terrible against Jacksonville, and then he looked absolutely terrible in week 18. So I'm not going to defend him on that. But he didn't have T.Y. Hilton. He didn't have Paris Campbell. So outside of Michael Pittman and Mo Alley Cox, who Mo Alley Cox would never start for anybody else besides Indianapolis, it was Jonathan Taylor and pretty much nobody else, which is why I wouldn't give up on him yet, because you get if Hilton comes back healthy next year, you get a healthy Paris Campbell. Now you got Pittman, Campbell, and Hilton, plus Taylor in the backfield. Then they probably go get a tight end in free agency. I don't know how many good tight ends are going to be in free agency, but you give Wentz more weapons, he's going to look better. So I
don't put it all on Carson Wentz. That's why I'm mad we got Eberflus as a head coach.
Yeah, because the defense fell off in the last 2 games as well.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it was just the whole team.
The whole team. Nobody played good.
The only person who was still good the last 2 games was Jonathan Taylor.
But I'm not gonna sit up here and act like Carson Wentz is the end all be all.
No. Don't get it twisted. I'm not going to scream him the end all be all.
For at least 1 more year.
He's good enough to get them to the playoffs.
And you will never catch me saying that. He's not the end all be all. No, trust me, that's not the argument I'm making. But again, to sit here and pretend that Carson Wentz is this problem, he's this cancer, he's this detriment, when he had 27 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions this year, when the biggest knock on him was that he's nothing but a turnover machine. When everyone is talking about he has a massive ego problem, yet this was the less ego we've seen him play in his entire career, to the point that when everyone's saying, oh yeah, he always feels like he has to be the quarterback, this year he played second, at times third fiddle to anybody else who was around. Every knock we had on Carson Wentz this year, he's been doing steps to say, look, this is how y'all feel about me. I'm going to change the narrative. He's been doing those things. Go ahead, Dustin.
And to Chris's point, Wentz is the best option they have right now. And the AFC South is not a great division. It's literally a 2-team division, Tennessee and Indianapolis. Wentz is good enough to get Indianapolis into the playoffs. Whether it's as a wild card, whether they can win that division, he is a good enough quarterback to get the Colts to the playoffs.
Yes.
He might not be good enough to get them to the Super Bowl, but he's good enough to at least get them in the playoffs, which is all anybody wants in an organization. They want to get in the playoffs. They want a chance to make the Super Bowl, and we saw how things unfolded in the playoffs this year.
Anything can happen when you get there.
You get him into the playoffs, anything could happen, and Wentz has gotten to the playoffs before. He's the first year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl, he didn't play in the playoffs, but the second time the Eagles got there and lost in the division round, he played 2 games. So he's gotten there twice. So he can easily get that team to the playoffs, which is why unless they really feel they can get Russell Wilson, or unless they really feel they can get like a top 10 quarterback in free agency, a top 10 quarterback via the trade market, you need to stick with Wentz one more year and just give him all these weapons back healthy and see what he can do with them first.
Right, and at the same time, if you go get one of the, because again, this is something we need to understand. If we go out there and let's say we decide to go, I'm gonna put my Colts hat on. Let's say we decide to trade him and we go get somebody, right? This wide, and Chris, you know this wide receiver core is a middle of the pack wide receiving core. It's not the New England Patriots wide receiving core, but it ain't a healthy Rams wide receiving core either. This is a very middle-ish of the pack wide receiver room. So, again, if you're going to go get a Russell Wilson, this year, Russell Wilson pre-injury struggled when he had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Those 2 wide receivers would, if you would pick them up and put them in Indy, would be the same top 2 wide receivers. And I'm talking about pre-injury. And I know about this because I had him on my fantasy team, and I was hoping and praying that he wouldn't sell me. Thank God I got Joe Burrow. Thank God. But I just don't understand this hatred for Carson Wentz. That the whole narrative on him is that his ego's too big, he runs the ball too much, and he's a turnover machine.
You know where the hatred comes from, right?
What?
Being drafted number 2.
Probably. If we're going to be honest.
He hasn't lived up.
Number 2, that does have some high expectations.
He hasn't lived up to that expectation, which is kind of where the hatred comes, even if it's not warranted.
And listen, there are 3 knocks on him. Turnover machine. Right? Right, Ron? Ron, if I'm wrong, let me know. The 3 knocks on him is he's a turnover machine. He runs the ball way too much and puts himself in dangerous positions to get hurt. And number 3, he always wants to be the big ego dude who always has those big plays. Those are the 3 biggest knocks on him. This past year, Carson Wentz has literally debunked each and every one of those narratives. Now, can he do it again next year? It remains to be seen. But I think based on what he did, based on what he's given this team, I think he's done enough to at least earn a second chance.
I think you give him another year and you try to get another receiver to make that receiving core a little better. I think they should do.
You got to remember all the times that we were doing this morning show. Week 13 or week 14. All of us on the panel even said the one team that nobody wants to play in the playoffs was the Colts.
Colts, yes.
And that's because Jonathan Taylor was just pounding the ball, and Carson Wentz was playing game manager and doing basically how Jimmy Garoppolo got the 49ers to the playoffs or to the Super Bowl, where He was out there being a game manager, making the throws he needed to make, and not
Don't make that big mistake.
Yeah, and
if that's how he can play, that team is dangerous.
Right, and at the same time, like when they brought Carson Wentz in, they basically were like, "Look, you know, it's the first year. As time went on, Jonathan Taylor became the guy. So then they started thinking, okay, here's what we're going to do with you. We're here for those very crucial throws, the throws that we know you can make, the throws you made your entire career, those crucial throws. That's what we need you to do." And he's done that.
Yep. The way he played this year reminded me of Teddy Bridgewater in Minnesota the year that Peterson ran for 2,097 yards. Right. It was you hand the ball to Peterson, you let him get his 150, 160 yards, and then Bridgewater goes 14 of 21 for 195 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. He did what he needed to do because you had a running back that nobody could tackle.
And in this Colts system, that's really what you need. That's really what you need. You don't need a guy to average 450 passing yards.
No, he can average like 200, 210
exactly.
passing yards.
You need a guy to give you between 200. That's all you really need. If you have a guy that can give you that, you're in a solid position. Because again, you got a top running back in Jonathan Taylor,
and you have one of the best backups in Marlon Mack, who was hurt a lot this year. Right. If Marlon Mack comes back healthy next year,
a beautiful one too there.
Plus, you have Nyheim Hines.
I was gonna say Nyheim Hines is a good weapon.
Well, I don't know about Nyheim Hines because I think he's gonna end up being traded.
I'm just saying they could go with a 3-headed monster if they really wanted to in the backfield and use Hines like the.
If Hines wants to stay, oh, that would be a beautiful.
Because you can use Hines differently than Mack and Taylor because Hines is actually a good pass catching running back.
I just say you can put him out in the slot.
You can line him in the slot and do a lot of other places that the other two can't be used.
And my other reason too, I mean, Wentz played good. Another reason, though, if we get rid of Wentz, this is going to be our fourth quarterback in 4 years. It's hard to build a winning team doing that.
Right, and what better option do you have? I mean, if you want to trade him for like an Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson, again, personally, I would be against that because that's actually the opposite of the quarterback that you need. You know what I mean? Like you got an average wide receivers room. Combine that with the fact that you got a guy in Jonathan Taylor who at any point can go nuclear. At any point he can get you that big run, and I would know because when we played them. We kept him in check until he felt like scoring. When he scored, in my mind, I was like, okay, we didn't really keep him in check. He just felt like not scoring.
He was just bored. He was just toying.
The contact is crazy. He breaks usually the first tackle 9 times out of 10.
The percentage is just stupidly high. When I had checked it, it was like week 16 when I checked it, and his percentage, no lie, was like 70-something%, very close to 80.
Yeah, he breaks at least one tackle 76% of the time. He breaks at least one tackle.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
And then his yards after contact was like 5.2, which was only behind Derrick Henry, who was at like 7.
So you know what I mean. So I don't know, Ron. I understand you hate Carson Wentz. I'll be screaming free Carson.
I guess I got one final thought, a question for Chris, because I don't know why we're talking about the Colts this long, but I done dove into all their stats. Yeah. So a couple points. Jonathan Taylor was their third leading receiver, 40 receptions. Clearly, they need some help at the wide receiver room. Carson Wentz, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, a 94.6 QBR. Okay. You guys, we can ride with Carson Wentz another year. But looking on the defensive side of the ball, because I'm like, it was a team collapse against the Jacksonville Jaguars. What's going on with the defense? You guys look like you're struggling on the D line. No one got really over 7 sacks this season. Your defensive ends and tackles aren't in your top tackle categories. I would say maybe you guys will go at a defensive end to upgrade the roster over a wide receiver. What you want to see the Colts do? I'd be cool with them going for a defensive end first, and then getting a wide receiver in the next round of the draft. You can find good wide receivers a lot of times later in the draft. You don't have to get the receiver in the first round. But you're right; they do definitely need help on defensive line. I thought the secondary got better this year, but the defensive line didn't play like we did the year before. Buckner wouldn't get into the quarterback like he did the year before.
Darius Leonard was like the only one that you had on defense that did anything.
Yep.
Right.
He's everywhere. That dude's he's crazy.
Just get two more versions of him, you'll be fine.
Exactly. I guess we're running back with Carson Wentz. Let's see how it goes.
And again, like I said, dog, like I just think Carson Wentz, he did enough to prove I deserve another year. Go ahead.
Is anybody predicting playoffs?
I think they can make it. Yes. Yeah, I think they can make it. Because listen,
they would have made it last year if the injuries didn't get to them at the end.
That is true. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they were there for a good part. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
they were 8-4. They were 9-6. Where all they had to do was win one game, and then the injuries just caught up to them at the wrong time.
You hear that, Rob? ASAP has declared Carson Wentz is going to the playoffs.
Oh.
How is that a hot take?
Rob's
Hold on. But how is that a hot take? Because before this season, the Colts were a wild card team. It was a universal truth
until they lost to Jacksonville.
Well, no, but I'm saying last year, Phillip Rivers almost beat Buffalo at Buffalo.
Yeah.
With the exact same system that Carson Wentz had.
Yeah.
You said,
Phillip Rivers' numbers were not that great with the Colts last year.
And that's why he's no longer playing football.
He's 40 years old, though.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, though, the Colts went 10-6 with Phillip Rivers. They went into Buffalo and actually had a shot to beat Buffalo in that first playoff game until Rivers got picked off in the end zone. So it's not like the Colts are far away as things sit right now. They have the same exact roster for the most part that they had last year. It's just injuries got to them at the worst times this year, and at some point injuries catch up to every team.
Yeah, I mean, injuries got to everybody. You look at the Ravens, that's why I'm saying you got a lot of teams if you look at the Ravens, we know I think the Ravens will be there next year. They'll be as long as they're not hurt.
And you can take Pittsburgh because I don't think Pittsburgh gets in next year. So, I mean, you can swap the Ravens and put the Ravens in. You can take Pittsburgh out. I don't know if the Raiders get in next year.
Cincinnati doesn't.
I mean, the Chargers.
You guys got a bunch of hot takes this morning.
The Chargers should have gotten in if their coach knew how to kick a field goal.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a different story, man. I feel sorry for my boy.
There's a lot of teams that got in this year that I don't see getting in next year. And like with the Colts were in the driver's seat up until those final 2 weeks. So they were playing better than anybody in the NFL from weeks 9 through 14. They were probably playing the best football in all of the NFL those 5 weeks, which is why they put themselves in the position they were in.
I just think with Carson Wentz, I guess we can give him another chance. I'm not quick to say they'll be there in the playoff. I mean, that Jacksonville loss was tough, man. That's a hard one to overlook.
Hey, and guess
you
what?
do realize that they haven't won at Jacksonville since 2013.
Yeah, but right. Still, that team was trash. They went through the whole fiasco.
Pittsburgh also tied to Detroit, and they made the playoffs, and nobody held that against.
I don't know why Pittsburgh made it to the playoffs. I was just as shocked as everybody that Pittsburgh was in the playoffs.
Who was Jacksonville's only win last year? They beat the Colts in Jacksonville week 1.
Yeah, week 1.
Phillip Rivers had 3 interceptions that game at Jacksonville. Jacksonville won 1-15.
No. Even though it was Phillip Rivers, it's still Carson Wentz's fault.
No, but I'm just saying the Colts can't
win.
Well,
last year Carson Wentz was in Philadelphia going 16 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. Let's not overlook that.
No. That was brought up. And what was his touchdown to interception ratio this year?
27.
It was great. What, he's 27-7?
He's done enough to just earn another opportunity, and as long as he continues to show the improvement, and he shows that I'm getting more comfortable in the system, and as long as he's going in the right direction, why give up on him?
Yeah, he was either 3rd or 4th in the NFL in touchdown to interception ratio percentage, behind Rodgers, Cousins, and Mahomes. I think he was behind.
He's a turnover machine, though.
Yeah, he threw the 3rd most touchdowns this season that he's had in any season in his career. He already had 2 seasons with more touchdowns. He had 33 and he had 27.
33 and 20. He had 27 this year, and I think he had 33 and 31 those 2 years in Philly.
Yeah, just give it to him when don't show up.
Yeah, give it to him once. Who's your quarterback again?
Justin Fields, and I say that proudly.
Okay. Yeah, he's probably, bro. Because Justin, he lets his opponent have a field day, bro. Because his goofy, I don't know nothing. Oh yeah, the game is mad slow. That he got cleaned up. Come on, bro. Have my little guy at public saying, "Yo, clean up on aisle 5." Head ass.
Hey, do you see that offensive line we got? Trash.
You had a Hall of Famer.
Meanwhile, he's running into sacks, but again,
trash.
Again,
you had a
but
Hall
he
of
runs
Famer
into
at left
sacks.
tackle.
Hey, it don't matter. Trash.
Right.
That offensive line was trash. Now, I'm not gonna defend Justin Fields and say this. This what I will say about Justin Fields.
You just said the offensive line was trash, and you used that to try to protect Justin Fields. But when the last 2 games of the season for the Colts, their offensive line was trash, but Carson is still.
He was 27-7. He got to finish the job.
Why am I talking? My bad. I'm talking too much. Pride is doing too much. I'm about to take another sabbatical. I'm sick of it, yo. I'm sick of it.
This is the most the Colts ever get.
I like that.
Hey, Fred, what'd you say? You going, bro?
I'm taking another sabbatical, bro.
Yeah, that's the most the Colts ever been talked about on a sports show.
No, Pride, you're not allowed to take a sabbatical because the Bulls start losing games when you lose.
Hey, right. Shout out to DeMar DeRozan. Got 40 last night.
It's funny too. It's funny because Dustin was like, he was telling me earlier, he was like, yo, I'm mad you left because when you left, the Bulls started to lose. And he was like, now you're back, and now DeMar DeRozan all of a sudden dropped 40. He was like, don't leave. And I'm like, you know what? Guess what? Come playoffs, I'm playing Kyrie Irving. I'm unavailable. I'm pulling a sabbatical.
Hey, by that time, hopefully we got Lonzo back. We got Caruso back.
Levine
we'll be just fine.
Levine.
He has to go see a specialist about his knee.
I'm worried about Levine right now.
And the reason he's going to see a specialist, based on what I read, Dustin, I think you definitely would know this. He is going to see whether or not surgery is like 100% necessary.
The fear that
because they said there's no structural damage in his knee.
Well, right, so they're hoping that he could just like rehab it and be fine. That's the hope.
That's not entirely accurate anymore.
Whoa, go ahead, Dustin.
Go ahead, talk your stuff, brother.
The Bulls fear it's a similar situation of what happened with Lonzo Ball, where Lonzo Ball was dealing with knee pain for about a week, gave him an MRI, said there was no structural damage. Came back and played 2 games, and they find out there's a partial tear in the MCL, which is why he's out the 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes, Zach LaVine had no structural damage when he had the MRI, but at the same time, did he come back too soon and create structural damage?
Yeah.
That's kind of what their fear is at this point, because with the MRI came back clean, but just because it came back clean, they still should have rested LaVine for an additional week or 2. The moment that they said the MRI was clean, it was, okay, Zach, give us your 40 minutes. Give us your 40 minutes and your 27, 28 points and do what you got to do. So he could have very easily created that structural damage by coming back too soon.
That's tough. By the way, I did hear about the Schroeder trade.
And if that is the case and LaVine has to miss time, look for Goran Dragic to end up in Chicago in the buyout market to give the Bulls credit to that.
I mean, Goran Dragic doesn't even want to be in Toronto. Well, no, the trade deadline passed.
The Spurs bought him out last night, so he's actually in the
actually bought him out.
So he's in the buyout market right now. So if LaVine does have to miss extended time, look for Dragic to end up in Chicago so they can have somebody to fill in for Ball and LaVine at this point.
Well, at least Ball will be back in a couple weeks.
Mid-March. I think March 23rd is when Ball is supposed to be back. March 20th is when Caruso is supposed to be back, and then Patrick Williams is supposed to be back kind of in that same time period.
Dustin,
bro. I just real quick, I just want to say one thing, bro. I told everybody, when you ride with your team, you got bragging rights for life. We're 9-1 in our last 4. Boston Celtics, we coming. Now we're gonna get bounced in the second round.
Did you just say you were?
So now the season's looking bright, Rob. It's looking bright.
Pride, can you rewind? Can you rewind yourself like a minute? Did you just say you were 9-1 in your last 4?
No, Boston Celtics. We're 9-1 in our last 10.
I thought you said they were 9-1 in their last 4. I'm like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I thought he said that too. I was like,
yo, Chris, chill out. Yo, what's with the disrespect today? Listen, man, and Rob, and all y'all know this. Earlier this year, bro, I was sad for my Celtics. It was very sad, bro. It was horrible. I still supported them because they was my team, but we was down bad, real bad. I was still rolling with them, but it was hard. It was hard, bro. It was hard rolling with them, bro. It was so hard. I would try to avoid the conversations because I was like, yo, I thought we was going to be a lost season. And then the best player in the world, Jason Tatum, just does best player in the world things. You know what I mean?
Right. Can I read some of the teams you guys have played from your last 10?
Yo, Rob.
I'm just messing. We've been talking about the Colts for 30 minutes. We don't need to talk about the Pistons, the Trailblazers.
Where's that mute button? Where's that mute button?
Hey, what you said about DeRozan before, Rob, too? Did you know that DeRozan made history last night?
Yeah, with 5 most 30-point games or something like that.
He tied Wilt Chamberlain for the most consecutive 30-point games of shooting at least 60%.
Yes, sir. DeMar DeChosen.
I can't stand. Yo, real quick, Ron. I'm gonna petition that you get kicked off this network. God damn it! Let me have something, yo. Let me have something, man.
I hate the Celtics. You need me here. I gotta humble you.
Yo, Ron, just give me this one moment. God damn it! Give me this one. We've been struggling so bad. It's been struggle city for us.
Hey, you're ahead of Brooklyn. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question.
What?
With the way that the Bulls have been able to win despite injuries, is Coach Billy Donovan a real candidate for Coach of the Year?
He got to be at this point. He got to be. He has to be.
Even more so than Bickerstaff. Donovan.
Honestly, at this point, it's his to lose.
I don't think it's even his to lose. At this point, it's his. Like, there's no way you can give it to anybody else. Because name another team that has gone through what this Bulls roster has gone through, whether it be COVID, whether it be the injuries to all these people. Name another team that would be in the same position that they're in.
Because they're still, top 2 in the East? I think they're like a game or something behind Miami.
Half a game behind Miami.
Back of Miami for the number 1 seed. They're only a half game back.
Yeah.
And they've had a healthy roster for the first 3 games of this. No, not even that. Because Kobe White wasn't even available until 14 games in. They have never had a healthy.
And Patrick Williams got injured, the first week of the season?
Third game. Yeah. They have not had a healthy roster all season. And they're 37-21.
Bro, and I'm telling you.
What was that, Ron? What was that?
I said Sixers. We didn't have a mentally healthy roster. I don't know.
You know what? I'm telling you this right now, dog. I'm gonna tell you this right now, bro.
Hey, at least y'all got Harden out the deal. He seems happy now.
For how long? How long is he gonna be?
I was about to say, how long he gonna be happy until all?
Hey, I tell you this, Joel Embiid ain't gonna play that, bro.
He's gonna be healthy. He's gonna be happy until Embiid yells at him.
Embiid ain't gonna play that, bro. I don't think so.
And then he's gonna look at Embiid and be like, "You want something?"
He's the ultimate troll.
People play. The only thing he'll do is be a crybaby about it. Avoid James Harden in the hallway every chance they get, and then just like be throwing subs out in the media, and then try to pretend he's being above it. Try to stay and pretend like Joel Embiid is like this great guy that he's above all the drama.
Nah, he's the troll. He's the ultimate troll.
You said what?
He's the ultimate troll.
The biggest factor in the Sixers case that no one's talking about is Doc. Doc is the type of coach right for James Harden. His mental attitude, the way he is, the way he controls players. I think we're gonna
I still say Doc doesn't deserve he doesn't deserve a pass for what he did to Ben Simmons. I don't care what happened between Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, but when your coach throws you under the bus publicly,
thank you.
Yeah,
there's no way to look past that. If I was Ben Simmons, I wouldn't have wanted to play that either. I don't care about what Joel say. We can get over. We can go scrap it out in the locker room and be okay. But when my coach, my general, the person that runs this team throws me under the bus, ain't no way I'm playing for you no more, bro.
The only issue that I have with Ben Simmons, if he was really that unhappy, why not just play and increase your trade value? Just
because I could not play for Doc Rivers again. I couldn't do it. There's no way I am suiting up for you. There's no way.
I honestly, and I'm with you, Rob. Me personally, I wouldn't be able to like do, because I'll be honest, if I'm going out there, guess what? My trade value is going down because I'm not hustling. I ain't doing nothing, bro.
I ain't doing nothing.
I'm jogging. If there's a turnover, I'm just sitting watching it.
What Bernie Mac say? I ain't doing nothing.
I ain't doing nothing. Do not talk to me and do nothing one time. Like, on everything. And I don't blame Ben Simmons at all. I don't, because again, like, and it's funny because what happened with that Atlanta Hawks, they're trying to act like it was all Ben Simmons' fault. Joel Embiid had 8 turnovers. Nobody want to talk about that. Matisse Thybulle couldn't buy a free throw either, but yet he's fine. Doc Rivers, he pulled the Clippers, turned his back, crossed his legs like he's at a banquet hall and said, "Oh, you figure it out on your own." Like, I think
let's not leave Tobias Harris complete layup package that don't ever go in off of
and Tobias, and as much as I like Tobias Harris, he sold them too. Like, I just think top to bottom, everybody sold, but it's easy to blame it on Ben Simmons because of that one layup.
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna be honest, nobody was talking about it until that layup.
I mean, if Kawhi Leonard didn't have springs built into a rim, who knows what the Sixers would be.
Don't do that. You saw Joel Embiid crying after that? Ah!
He's talking about with his girl. He's crying to his girl.
You saw Odell Beckham crying too on Sunday because he
didn't get
that ring.
Now Odell crying is different, dog.
I hope I don't have a problem with Philly. I don't have a problem with Joel Embiid right now because, like, you guys didn't want to put no respect on his name a couple weeks ago. You see, Joel Embiid has been going crazy continuously.
He's been going crazy. Unfortunately, his name's not Nikola Jokic. So,
hey, and I'm not saying that Jokic hasn't had a great season, but we can't overlook what Embiid is doing. I mean, the man is looking. I have never seen a player combine all the moves into one person. Like, he got a fadeaway like MJ and Kobe. The man is stepping back like Steph. He banging down low like Shaq. I mean,
okay, well, no.
Man, what you mean, not really?
That banging low. All right, you got that one.
You ain't seen the way you been doing them fadeaways?
Chris, he does one fadeaway game, and all of a sudden, this guy's a second corner MJ.
Man, you ain't see the video package in which they had Michael.
They're doing video packages from like 3 years ago.
I don't care. 5 minutes. I don't care.
Nah, I think it is peculiar that somebody like Joel Embiid wouldn't base his game off of the dream and kind of work closer to the paint and get that dream shake movement going because he decided to copy Jordan and Kobe's post pack.
You need that feet work for that.
Yeah.
Well, this is all I'm saying, man. This is all I'm saying because you said we're overlooking Joel Embiid. Problem is we are because in order to be above him, that being Joker, we gotta overlook who's in front of him. You feel me? So yeah, I'm looking over Joel Embiid. Matter of fact, I'm climbing over Joel Embiid and I'm using him as a step stool so I can look eye to eye with the best center in the game today. That's Nikola Jokic. I don't care what no one says. Last topic of the day before Ron gets mad and leaves and threatens to quit, before Rob bullies me to take another sabbatical. last topic of the day, Kyler Murray. He's butthurt right now. The Cliff Kingsbury's butthurt right now. The Cardinals are butthurt right now.
Oh God,
D-Hop is butthurt right now. Like the entire roster, top to bottom.
No, D-Hop is just hurt right now.
Bro, That's a good one. But everyone in their mom right now in that organization, they're mad. And it's almost as if they're mad, but they refuse to talk to each other.
Because everyone's blaming everybody.
Yeah, like supposedly Kyler Murray feels like he's being the scapegoat, while other people feel that, he's immature, which
he might be.
I mean, homeboy's, 24, all right, can't even rent a car, but he's supposed to be strong and mentally fortitude, like, I don't know, Tom Brady or,
I mean, when you watch Kyler Murray play and he runs like an angry toddler that's about to get spanked by his parents. Just picture it, Pride. You have little kids. He runs like an angry toddler that's about to get
He
spanked.
runs like my daughter when I'm trying to yell at her when I yell her name.
He runs like an angry toddler.
Oh my god! Look, I like Kyler Murray. I really do. I think I understand why he believes he was scapegoated to an extent. But maybe it's just me. I don't want to say that he's like self-centered and all that stuff. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to say that, but I just think offensively, he deserves some blame because it was a bad game. But also, Cliff Kingsbury needs to take some responsibility as well, because that was the most confusing play calling I've seen from Cliff Kingsbury in a long time. Like, my guy, I think at one point it was like third and 20 something.
Third and 26.
Yeah, and what was it? A QB draw that they try to run?
Third and 26, a QB option read.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I understand when you're third and 20 plus, it's tough. It's tough. Let's not get it twisted. But running a QB option, you might as well kneel it after the snap. You might as well, house it from it and then just kneel it. Like, it was weird. I said this joke right after. It's almost as if Joe Judge was fired and then the Cardinals picked him up, because that was a Joe Judge game. When you're supposed to be aggressive, he played passive. And when you're supposed to play passive, he played aggressive. It's almost as if he was like, what would I do in this normal situation? Okay, let me do the exact opposite. It was so bizarre. So, Dustin, let me start with you. Kyler Murray, he's threatening. Well, there's rumors that he's threatening to go to baseball. Do you think he stays in the NFL, or do you think he goes to baseball? And if he stays in the NFL, do you think he tries to force his way out of Arizona?
Well, I'm going to start by saying I think Kingsbury more so gave up, mainly because you got off to a 10-2 start. You had the best record in the NFL, and then when everybody and their mother started to get injured, you had no identity anymore. And I think it just started to weigh on Cliff Kingsbury that no matter what he tried, the injuries kept piling up, and I think he just got to the point where he felt there was nothing he could do anymore. So I don't want to say he didn't care. It just seemed like he gave up towards the end of the year, knowing that no matter what he was doing, it wasn't going to be enough because the injuries got to be too much. In terms of Murray, I don't see him going to baseball this year because we don't even know if baseball is going to be played. However, if things stay the way they do in Arizona next year as they are right now, I don't think he stays in football, period. I think he will jump to baseball because baseball is going to give him the most guaranteed money of any sport that he will ever play. It's the only sport where your contract basically is fully guaranteed, no matter if you play one game or 1,000 games. And he would have been a top 3 pick in baseball. So it's not like Russell Wilson, who probably would have been drafted, but he wouldn't have been drafted till like the 15th or 20th round, where he would have had to work his way up through the system. Kyler Murray would have been a top 3 pick. He would have been the starting center fielder for the Oakland Athletics within 2 years of being drafted. So the dude can play. The dude can hit. He can play defense, and he is extremely fast on the bases.
Hey, he reminds me of like a what's homeboy's name? Kettle Martell.
Yeah,
he reminds me of him, where like straight contact,
yep.
Loves running with speed.
The only issue he's going to have is, has he played any baseball the last 3 years? Like, does he spend the off season practicing football, or does he spend the off season doing stuff for baseball? Because even if he wants to go to baseball, you've had 3 years off of baseball now. How long is it going to take you to get back into that rhythm that you had when you were playing in college? That's why it's kind of a fine line at this point, where if he does commit to baseball, he's not coming back to football. If he commits to baseball, his days in the NFL are done, because I don't care what anybody says, and I don't know how many of you guys have played baseball in the past. Baseball is the hardest sport to play.
Yeah, it's going to take him some time to get his timing back trying to hit the ball, especially
It's
being
not.
able to see, like,
It's not just.
different
It's not just
pitches
the
and
hitting.
shit.
It's just not the hitting. It's the fielding. It's
Yeah,
the base
fielding, all
running.
of it.
It's
And the awareness too,
the
because
awareness. The pitcher's
like-
throwing 100 miles an hour at you, as
Right.
opposed to like seeing 87, 88 in college. Like baseball is the hardest sport to play, and the fact that he hasn't played it for 3 years, it'll take him probably 2 years just to get caught up to speed. And at that time, spending 2 years out of the NFL, you have no shot to come back to the NFL at that point.
Yeah.
So he just needs to commit to what he wants to do, and if he decides to go baseball, well then his days in the NFL are done. And if he decides to go and stay with football, he's going to finish out his contract with the Cardinals and then be done. I just don't think the Cardinals are going to trade him as bad as he wants to be traded, just because there's really no options for the Cardinals to bring in. Like Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, and those guys are the only options. But at this point, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Wilson or Murray, or would you rather have Wentz and Murray?
Ron, let me get your thoughts on that playoff game where Kyler Murray, 137 yards, no touchdown, 2 interceptions, 55.9 completion percentage. Let me ask you, based on blame, if you're gonna blame anybody out of 100%, how much blame are you giving Kyler Murray? Are you gonna give him all of it, some of it, none of it? How much blame should Kyler Murray take?
50%. 50 goes to him, 50 goes to the coach. Kyler Murray wasn't one of the guys. He wasn't in the trenches. He didn't feel like he was a part of the 52. And it showed in the last playoff game when there's 2 minutes left in the game and there's no way the Cardinals is coming back, and he's not going into the game. He's refusing to finish the game with the troops. And even the backup quarterback, I think it was Colt McCoy, is like, no, yeah, you got to go out there, Kyler. You got to go. Come on, finish strong, finish. And he's just like, no. And he went to go be a big baby on the bench. And yep, that's his biggest L. He was fine. They lost DeAndre Hopkins. Of course, you guys are going to fall off. But going out like that is where he messed up at. Lost his team.
Chris, you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Because a lot of times you'll see Murray standing on the sideline by himself, look like he's disinterested in the game. That's my son's a big Arizona Cardinals fan. I've been telling him since they drafted Murray that I think Murray will finish out his rookie contract, and I think he's going to baseball.
Yeah, bye. If I'm the Cardinals, give me 3 first-rounders. You can have this.
The team was 2-1 with McCoy, technically 3-1 because McCoy came in at the end of the first quarter in the other game. So obviously Kingsbury's system works if Colt McCoy can go 3-1 in it. So they can win without Murray. It just would be a different looking offense because they wouldn't have the little toddler running around.
Little toddler, Jesus.
I'm calling up the Tennessee Titans tomorrow. Let's make a trade, Tannehill, and give us some first-round picks.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I was told that Ryan Tannehill is horrible. That's a rumor going around the windmill, but it is what it is. Rob,
Low ceiling, high floor.
You said low ceiling, high floor?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, he's probably considered in his prime now?
We saw his ceiling this year because he was an MVP candidate for 8 weeks. So we've seen his ceiling, but then once that ankle injury happened, then it was that high floor where it went downhill quick.
I
love those Kyler memes where he's like 2 inches. Yeah.
And here's the thing with Kyler, like the only issue I have is just the fact that I think it was the playoff game. It was Peyton Manning and Eli Manning were doing their thing, where they kind of just talk. It's weird. They are some of the 2 quarterbacks I hate the most. But after they retired and they actually started talking,
I respect them a lot more.
I like them. I like Peyton Manning. Eli started to get there. I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm a New England Patriots fan. I'm starting to like Eli. He's actually sort of kind of funny.
If you watch that playoff game over Pride and you watch Murray when he throws, he's throwing the football like he's trying to throw a runner out at home plate from center field.
Yep.
Like he gets into a crow hop, and then instead of like
Yes.
just following through,
And-
like he's bringing the entire football down to his waist and just trying to fire it.
That's it, and that's why sometimes, especially that play, that's why some of those deep connections he wasn't able to make, because I noticed that he's crow hopping, and I'm like, wait a
He's
minute,
not stepping into it. He's throwing it like he's throwing
Yeah,
baseball.
I'm like, hold on, you're crow hopping to throw the ball, and I've seen him do it like 20 yards. I'm like, I've never seen him do that like that before. Like before he would step into it, like in that play game, he's out here crow hopping, and I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing? That's perplexing at best. But hey, to each their own. Live your life, shoot your shot. But for Kyler, my thing was while Peyton and Eli were doing their thing, they had Russell Wilson on. And, you know, they asked him, hey, you know, Russ, if you're in the situation, if you were Kyler, what would you do? And Russell Wilson said, look, I understand the game's not going your way, but it's not out of reach. If I'm him right now, I'm galvanizing the troops. I'm talking to everyone. I'm saying, come on, guys, you can do it. While he's saying this, guess who the camera just so happens to pans on? Kyler Murray. And what was he just so happened to be doing?
Sitting on the sideline with his helmet halfway off his head, just staring.
Just staring and ignoring everybody. It's like he's trying to isolate himself. And it's like, I don't, personally, I don't like that. I don't. And it's because I don't know. I always felt like, you know, I understand, you know, you're down bad. I get it. You're not in a position you want to be in, but you need to be able to go and say, come on, guys, we got this. Come on. Rally the troops. You see all-time greats doing it.
Yes, but as a quarterback, you gotta be supposed to be the leader of the team. Not you can't be you gotta be one of the guys. You can't be
And
out
what
of the
you
group.
and what you just said, Pride, the way he acts is like how a baseball player acts.
Yes.
And no disrespect to baseball players, but they're very superstitious. Like,
you don't need leadership and camaraderie in baseball.
but I'm just saying though, like if you're a pitcher throwing a no-hitter, nobody will talk to this pitcher in the dugout. Like they will sit as far away as possible.
Yes.
And like even if a pitcher's having a good game, you never see the pitcher like talking to anybody. He'll walk back to the dugout quick, do a quick handshake, and then just sit there. That's what Murray does every single game. He acts like he's throwing a no-hitter in baseball where he wants nothing to do with anybody on his team. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He just goes off the field, sits in his little corner, and waits till it's time to go back on the field.
He reminds me, he really reminds me of Detroit Tigers Max Scherzer. When Max Scherzer, when he was having a solid game, he would go and he wouldn't even take his glove off. He would leave his glove on and he would sit and wait.
Or Verlander too.
Would talk to him, and people only talked to him after he was done. And his sign was when he would take his glove off. When he took his glove off, that was a sign, okay, he's not going back out. We can out touch him. Then they'll go up to him and if you look at it, Detroit Tigers Max Scherzer, it was very seldom when they would actually, like, you know how when a guy comes out, they kind of pat his butt and they go, yo, good job, good job. It's very rare you saw that from Detroit Tigers Max Scherzer. It was very rare that you saw those guys kind of, you know, the bench guys go up to him because they would wait for him to take his glove off.
Ask Jim Leland when Jim Leland coached him in Detroit how many words that Max Scherzer actually spoke during his start. And Leland will probably say he talked for maybe less than 15 seconds whenever he had the ball. He would get there, do his thing.
And the thing is, and most of the time when he was talking, when he had the ball like in the dugout, it was asking, how many pitches am I at?
And the other time too, Jim Leland said the only time he would talk is like when the pitching coach would like come out there. And Scherzer's response would be,
get the fuck
away, let me finish this inning.
Yep.
And then the pitching coach would just like literally be talking for the next 45 seconds to the infielders to make it look like he was doing something. When Max Scherzer just said, get off my mound, let me finish this inning. And then I was done.
Like, you know, there have been many times when Max Scherzer was like, did I call you out here? Why?
He did that in Washington.
Yes.
In the World Series, all of a sudden the pitching coach came out. Max Scherzer,
like, this is my guy. He's like, you're not coming for me.
Like, what are you doing?
He's looking around like, what are you doing?
He's like, what do you do? My favorite one was John Lackey when he was with Boston. They checked him out. He goes, no way. And he was like, this is my guy. And then he was like, sure you want to do this? And he's like this. He's like screaming at the top of his lungs. And I see the neck veins bulging. And he's like screaming. And then, like, it's funny. He, like, the pitcher's going to take a step back, and he just puts the gloves on. And the last word he says, this is my fucking guy. And then it's like, okay. So he goes around, and then John Lackey is just like.
He did that with the Cubs in his second year when he signed with the Cubs. Joe Madden was gonna pull him out, and Lackey looks at him and takes his hand. He's like, "Go away, just go back in there."
What are you doing?
I got
Don't
it.
want to go. He did it. He did it with the Angels too. He's everywhere. Like John Lackey, John Lester, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander. Like those guys, if you were to try to take them out, they'll go, "Yeah, that's adorable. That's cute." Like,
I think
meanwhile, you got Clayton Kershaw. He'll like leave begrudgingly, and then he'll beat up the Gatorade thing and go to the locker room. Meanwhile, they took him out because it's a 6th inning. You got the win. You guys are up like 7-1. Like, relax. He's trying to save your thing. He's trying to save your heart.
I think the best one was when Lester made his final World Series with Terry Francona, and he was like, I think he was in a 2-hitter, and he was in the 7th inning, and Francona came to take him out. Lester didn't even give him the ball. He's like, "Fine, you want to take me out? I'm taking the ball with me." This is my ball.
It's funny, but
Trevor Bauer threw the ball over the center field fence.
Yeah, when Terry Francona came out, it was bad. His outing was bad. He threw it, and then Terry Francona's like, "What are you doing?" He goes like, "My fault, Skip. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it." He's like, "Get yours over." He's like, "Yes, sir." And he went. I was just like, and it's funny because I forgot who was playing center field. He was completely oblivious because he had his back turned to it. That the ball soared, and everyone was like, I remember the announcers, they were like, "Oh my God, he's gonna get hit with it," and like he just cleared like the wall. He cleared it by like 20 feet.
They said he threw it about 480 feet. I'm just like, holy Jesus.
Yo, he cleared it.
Y'all gonna make me start watching baseball,
bro. I like baseball, bro. I'm telling you, bro, it's fun. Baseball is fun, bro. But going back to Kyler Murray before we wrap it up. Look, man, Kyler needs to kind of. He needs to figure.
He needs a reality check.
Yeah, he needs but he needs to sit down. He needs to have a conversation with himself.
You ever see the movie Home Team on Netflix? The story of Sean Payton.
Yes.
And with Kevin James.
Yep.
Kyler Murray needs to watch that one clip where Kevin James basically says, "In the NFL, do you know what offensive linemen do to a quarterback when they piss him off?
Yep.
They move and let the guys come right through and crush him.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen to Murray next year.
Yeah.
They're just going to let everyone come right through and just smack him."
Yeah, he was soft for that Instagram thing, you know. I guess that's the new age way of breaking up people.
Right, and my thing is, what he should.
I'm gonna unfollow you and delete all my pictures of us being together.
Here's my thing, and my thing is, if he feels slighted, I get it, but it's not a situation like where they publicly threw him under the bus. He just feels that way internally, and he could have went up to them and he could have had a conversation and said, "Look, I don't think it's solely my fault."
It is. Look, when you do the same thing 2 seasons in a row, when you start off great and in the second half of the season you fall off completely off the radar, you have to look in the mirror and say, "Is it me?" You just have to. Like, you have to learn to take blame for your actions. So that's what it boils down to. He wants it to be everybody else's fault. Look, dude, it happens to the best of them. You know, Peyton Manning didn't start off being Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? For him to have the way that he started off, it's not bad. You got your team to the playoffs. I mean, hey, you know, it happens. Like, look in the mirror, suck it up, and get back on the field. Otherwise, go play baseball and get on with your life. But all the other stuff is just unnecessary.
And here's the thing, like Dustin said, if he wants to go, if he wants to switch over to baseball, you need to be all in, because
There's
being
no
out
switching
2
back.
years, it's going to be very difficult for you to come back. You know what I mean?
Baseball's a hard
Like,
sport.
His name is not Michael Jordan.
And if he does come back, he's not coming back as a quarterback because no one would put him back there.
no.
His name is not Michael Jordan. It's you know, it's not Deion Sanders. You know what I mean? It's
Right, yeah, 100%. He's not Michael Jordan.
And baseball's
himself because somebody else wanted him. My bad.
baseball's the only sport. And baseball's
I'm not
the only
going there with
sport
you, Brian.
where failure actually gets celebrated. I mean, if you hit the ball 30% of the time in baseball, you're doing great.
But and listen, if you hit the ball 3 out of 10 times consistently, you're a Hall of Famer. You have a 300 batting average. You're a Hall of Famer unless your name is Barry Sanders. But again,
If I get a 30 on my test in school, I get grounded by my parents, but I can go play baseball and get a 30 and I'm a Hall of Famer. Mom,
Right.
You didn't teach me the right life lessons.
Hey, remember though, baseball ain't got no salary cap either. I'll be thinking about making that move too.
And like Dustin said, most of the contracts are fully guaranteed.
Mike Trout makes $214,000 every at bat. Every at bat, he makes $214,000.
I wish my father was in my life at an early age.
Not
Why
even.
why didn't I jump on this money train? And I just want to give the impression my father passed away. He didn't abandon me.
Every pitch that Max Scherzer throws is like
I just wish
100,000.
instead of my dad nutting in my mom, I wish it was like Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire. I wish someone else nutted in my mom because I would.
Wow, Brian took that all the way to the left side.
No,
That's why we love you, Brian.
I just wish it was someone else, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, because maybe you know what I mean. Or maybe if Barry Bonds was my uncle, me and him, I would have been shooting him up with Roy. He would have been doing it to me, you know what I mean? Allegedly. You know what I mean?
I'm still tripping over what Dustin said. $214,000 every time he steps up at bat, huh?
And ready to hear the funny part?
Golly.
Hey, right here, the funny part. When he's injured, he still
Still
gets
gets-
that same.
He'll get paid.
Rob.
Golly.
Mike Trout low key finessed the mess out of the Angels.
The craziest
More power
part
to
about
him.
that contract is it requires no postseason success.
None.
Oh my
No,
God.
because it's guaranteed. They have all the postseason stuff. It's just incentives.
Yeah.
But
So he can
already
get
made
paid
a good
more.
amount of things.
Yeah, you get paid more in the postseason.
So you're saying on top of the $214,000 at bat.
So Rob, here it is, right? So this is what it is. He gets a bonus for just making the playoffs. Then for every at bat that he has, they give him another extra. So he doesn't have to hit. He could literally just stay in the batter's box and just literally get a 3-pitch strikeout, and they'll pay him extra because it's in the playoffs. For every win, he gets another bonus. For every time that they advance, he gets another bonus.
It gets better
Bro,
because he hasn't made the playoffs since like his second year in the league.
Right.
So
I know that.
In his contract, if they make the playoffs, every hit that he gets in the postseason is a $100,000 bonus.
On top of the 214.
Every home run that he hits in the playoffs is $1 million bonus.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
So if he got to the playoffs and just raked for 14 home runs, they just give him a $14 million bonus just for getting to the playoffs and just raking.
So kids stay
You
in
ready for the funny
school
part, Rob?
and play baseball.
And Rob, ready for the funny part? They give him another bonus for just attempting to steal the base. So then if he steals it, that's another bonus. Mike Trout potentially,
He
why?
could be a billionaire.
Bro, no, I'll be honest with you. If you get that same contract and you pick him up and you put him in the Dodgers, if you put him in Houston, Red Sox, any of these perennial teams,
He'd be a billionaire.
not only a billionaire, in 4 years, he would have so much money they wouldn't be able to buy, like they wouldn't be able to pay him. The dude would just own Major League Baseball. Like that's how much of an opportunity he truly has.
By the time his contract is up in Anaheim, whether they keep him or not, he will have enough money to buy the Angels. Or buy his hometown team, the Phillies, or pretty much buy any Major League Baseball team not named the Dodgers, Cubs, or Yankees. By the
And
time
it's
his
funny,
contract is up with all the bonuses tied in there, he will have over $1 billion where he can purchase a baseball team.
And
I thought Floyd Mayweather was raping the market.
Bro, no, but Mike Trout pimping the market, bro, because he could buy him straight out. So he'll be the solo dolo owner, and he would still have extra money just to do whatever.
And once you buy a team, then you're getting more money anyways because of everything that goes into it. So not only would he be a billionaire, but he'd be a 10 billionaire, 20 billionaire, however much long he wants to stay owning a team.
And then they also get another bonus if they was to win the World Series.
All the players get like another bonus for that, yeah.
I should have played baseball.
Mike Trout was no idiot when he signed this 14-year.
Oh no, of course he wasn't.
At the time, people thought he was, but I was like, you know what? Let me look. When I looked at the contract and just saw, not only he was guaranteed, but then the extra bonuses, I was like, if he doesn't sign it, he's an idiot.
Well, look at Robert Bonilla.
Normally, a contract is like 10 to 15 pages, and that's when you go through like all the legality of it and like everything.
His was
Mike
like closer to, like,
Trout's
30, bro.
contract is 74 pages. 74
crazy.
pages long.
Well,
is
and
his
look at
contract.
Bobby
And then
Bonilla.
20
He
and
hasn't
if I'm
played
not mistaken, I
forever
think it
and
was
still
like-
getting paid.
Yeah, like 25-ish of those pages are just the bonuses.
Yeah. 25 to 30 of the pages are just every
Oh,
single bonus that he can earn in the for the duration of his career. And
Hey, Chris,
what
you
it
were
what it
talking about
entitles. Because
from
Bobby
the Mets.
Bonilla. Bobby Bonilla still gets paid for another 5 years by the New York Mets.
And he hasn't played in what?
22
Then-
years.
I was gonna say like 20 years, and he's still getting paid.
He's got like what, 5 more years? You said that
5 more years left to getting his $1 million a year.
Mm.
he fleeced them so bad that when he retired, they still got to pay him.
Yeah, for like 20 years after he retired, he's still getting paid $1 million a year.
30 years. They have to pay.
Bobby Bonilla Day. That's what they call it.
Yep.
Swear to God. For the
Bobby
New York
Bonilla
Mets.
Day, you wake up and you check your bank account and there's $1 million sitting in there. Oh, a great day for me today, guys.
Be alive, bro. What a time in freaking the. But I just, like I said, bro. So Barry,
Is it the All-Star game this Sunday?
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, there's no All-Star game on Sunday.
When does the NBA
The
All?
Daytona 500 is Sunday. I'll be watching that more than the
Ah.
All-Star game.
Nah, I can't help it, man. I actually love the NBA All-Star game, man.
See,
I feel like
I agree with you, Dustin. I'll be watching
we
Daytona.
need to do that as we need to do that as a show too. Like Pride was talking about yesterday, like doing a show on like our favorite playoff series and like our favorite like playoff matchups.
yeah.
We need to do a show on like what our favorite All-Star game is, because like every All-Star game has the festivities tied into it. Like the NBA has the skill challenges that lead up to the All-Star game and the
Yeah.
dunk contest. NHL has fastest skater, hardest shot, like all that stuff. NFL went back to having dodgeball and all that fun stuff this year, and then Major League Baseball has the home run derby and the celebrity softball game plus the futures game. Like we need to do a show like tie-in like that. Like what's our favorite like All-Star weekend out of the sports, just because of the festivity side of things.
Yeah.
I can tell you my answer now. It's the NBA.
Oh my God.
Mine's baseball.
The home run derby is always fun.
It is.
The
It
home
really
run
is.
derby is great.
I feel like the 3-point contest is taking over the dunk contest.
But honestly, I will say this: I did enjoy the Pro Bowl stuff this year with dodgeball. That
I
was
did
fun.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, the dodgeball was pretty fun.
And the trick catches that they were doing. Like
I was like, I want to go out there. That looks like fun.
And the skill challenge thing they had was pretty cool.
like
Yeah,
the best catch was cool.
We're gonna wrap it up with this. Eli Apple celebrated Black History Month by letting a white man whoop him in front of a crowd.
Who?
I think by far, this
Yeah.
is the funniest tweet I think I've ever seen about Eli Apple so far.
Who is Eli Apple? Can you explain that guy?
Corner,
There you go.
number one cornerback for Cincinnati.
If he's your number one corner, you're beat. Dog. Eli and you don't understand, Rob. Eli Apple was running his mouth.
The one
Yeah.
the one that was allowing Odell Beckham to get 20 yards open downfield in the first half. That Eli Apple.
And then he's going like this, looking at like he thought Jesse Bates was supposed to help him. Meanwhile, he's out there trying to double Cooper Cup. Like, get out of here. Get him out of here. All right, but this has been ASAP in the morning. I know Ron's muted, but obviously it's fun having you here, bro. Chris, it's a pleasure. Rob, Dustin, before we get off, so you got a stat of the day. Let me hear it.
So not only did Cooper Kupp get the Triple Crown in the NFL this year, but he is also the all-time Triple Crown leader in the FCS. He has the most career catches at 434, the most career yards at 6,428, and the most career touchdowns at 73. So he is the Triple Crown record holder in the FCS.
The best receiver in football.
But yet he was a third-round pick because he went to Eastern Washington.
That's funny.
Wow.
That is absolutely.
That is a great stat.
Like always, Dustin with the bangers. But on behalf of all these fine, exquisite gentlemen, it's been your boy Pride. I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow because Rob beat me up on that whole Carson Wentz debate. So I'm
No, man. Pride, come back, man.
I might have to leave. But,
Who doesn't love a good debate?
That was assault what you did on me, bro. Free Carson Wentz, by the way. This has been ASAP in the morning. We'll be back here tomorrow, 10 Eastern in the morning, 9 Central. Until then, y'all know what to do.
We gone.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.